Chapter 26. After thinking for a while, Kakashi waved his hand and said, "You got the bell based on your own strength. How could you not tell me anything? Remember, a ninja should focus on the mission. Just like your current task is to grab the bell, if you grab the bell, your task will be completed, regardless of the process or method," Kakashi taught. Although this view is a bit skewed, but for these weak little ninjas, keeping these words in mind will prevent them from being so embarrassed when performing missions in the future. Does grabbing 2 bells mean the task is completed and we can successfully pass the test? Shenmu asked from the side. Kakashi replied casually, "Of course, but..." After saying that, he realized something was wrong and quickly raised his head. At this time, Shenmu spread his hands, and there were 2 bells lying in his hands. "Shenmu, then I grabbed 2 bells, so the task is completed, right? Can the 3 of us advance directly?" Kakashi was shocked. After groping around on his body, he discovered that the 2 bells around his waist were actually not there. When was it? Kakashi clearly remembers hanging the bell in 2 different places around his waist. Just now, Shenmu actually snatched away both bells in an instant? Good idea. It's a pity that this kid doesn't become a thief. "Teacher, you just said that if both bells are taken away, the task is completed. Once the task is completed, we will advance," Shenmu continued. Kakashi was slightly startled. He was actually tricked by this little guy. After thinking for a short time, he spread his hands in a helpless manner and said, "But I also said that among the 3 of you, 1 person must be left behind today. 1 bell only represents a quota for 1 test. And now both bells are in your hand, so now it's time for you to choose. Among the 3 people, you have to choose 2 to stay," Kakashi said, looking at Shenmu teasingly. "Fight with me, demo. Still want to use a bad trick to drag 2 companions to advance together? But Kakashi really wants to know what this kid will choose. This guy has a good relationship with Naruto, so he will definitely choose Naruto. The best outcome would be for this kid to be more upright and give up 2 promotion opportunities to Naruto and Sasuke." Faced with this difficult decision, Shenmu thought for a moment and then asked, "A bell can only represent 1 place that passes the test?" Kakashi nodded. "Yes, then all 3 of us can pass." Shenmu said affirmatively. Kakashi thought the child was a bit stupid and said patiently, "You only have 2 bells in your hand?" "Who said I only have 2 bells in my hand?" Shenmu said with a smile and spread his hands. His phone is full of bells, at least 20 or 30. Among these bells, there are actually only 2 original ones, and the others are clones of Shenmu. The specific method refers to the shuriken clone, which is very easy to operate. Kakashi, where did this kid get so many bells? Did you know the exam content in advance and prepare for it? Did someone explain the problem to him? Naruto and Sasuke, who were watching from the side, were also shocked. What kind of operation is this? I didn't see Shenmu holding the bell when I went out in the morning. Naruto scratched his head filled with questions. Shenmu asked, "Teacher, you said that a bell represents a place that passes the test. Now the 3 of you should have passed, right?" Kakashi knows he can't deny it this time. What a little fox. When you speak, emphasize what you just said. He's obviously trying to take advantage of his credibility. "Yes, I said that." Kakashi forced a smile. He knew that by nodding, he was admitting in disguise that the Shenmu trio had successfully passed the test. In fact, Kakashi's original intention of using the bell-grabbing test was to see how well the 3 of them could cooperate. And after the failure, will the 3 of them take care of their companions? Now, although a little bit the plot didn't develop as he imagined, but Shenmu did that for his teammates, so it fits the theme, right? Moreover, Kakashi can feel that with Shenmu in the team for a day, this small class will not abandon its companions. After Kakashi nodded, Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other, both seeing the shock in the other's eyes. Just pass the test? They haven't done anything yet. Sure enough, it was great to have a godlike teammate, and he passed the test straight away. "Yeah, Shenmu is great. He took us through the test successfully." Naruto jumped up and pumped his fist. Sasuke was much more reserved, but his face was a little red due to excitement. Of course, there are other emotions besides excitement, such as a little jealousy. After seeing Shenmu easily pass the teacher's test, Sasuke secretly vowed to work harder to surpass Shenmu in the future. You can't always let others do the limelight. Kakashi announced helplessly, "Okay, all members of Team 7 have passed the test and can take on tasks in the village tomorrow." Half a month later, the 3 members of Class 7 were lurking in the woods, like hunters waiting for their prey to be lassoed. Shenmu has successfully arrived at Location A and can carry out the capture mission. Sasuke has successfully arrived at Location C and can carry out the capture mission. Naruto hasn't arrived at Location B yet. Please wait for me for a while. Shenmu. Naruto, you are too unreliable. You are always slow in doing things. Sasuke. Yeah, Naruto, if you don't come, the prey will run away. Don't worry. I'll be there soon. Naruto was sweating profusely. It seems I can't wait any longer, Naruto. If you continue to delay, the prey will escape. Kakashi said in a deep voice. As I told you before, the ninja must ensure that the mission goes smoothly and cannot hinder the mission due to personal reasons. Okay, it's okay if it's just me and Sasuke. As long as we work together properly, it won't be difficult to catch it. Shenmu answered with the same serious face. I can. Sasuke nodded. After Kakashi looked at the prey in the forest, he shouted, Okay, start taking action. Next moment. Swish. The figures of Shenmu and Sasuke sprang out from the bushes and pounced on a certain beast figure in the forest. The little beast was very alert and immediately ran to the side after Shenmu, and the two jumped out. How could Shenmu let him run away? He took out a shuriken from his ninja bag. The shuriken shot out and split into dozens of clones. Crash. Those shurikens landed and directly blocked the path of the little beast. Sasuke seized the opportunity, jumped out from the side, controlled the little beast's back, and pinned it to the ground. After being suppressed, the little beast let out an aggrieved cry. Meow, that's right. The one that Team 7 tried so hard to trap was a harmless kitten. Confirm your identity first. Kakashi stepped forward and reminded. That's right. With bows on its ears, it's exactly the cat we need to find. Shenmu checked it and said, Okay, good job. This is the second task today, and it went very well. Kakashi nodded, hand in the mission. After saying that, Shenmu picked up the kitten on the ground. Today is the second day that Shenmu officially becomes Genin, and it is also the first day that he begins his mission. Because I just became a Genin, I can only take on some simple tasks. Helping neighbors take care of their children, looking for cats and dogs, etc. Chapter 27. The mission mechanism of Konoha Village is very simple. First, the village senior officials accept the entrustment from others. At the same time, the entrustment is divided into 4 difficulties, A, B, C, D, and distributed to ninjas of the corresponding level. Level A, tasks related to the trend of the country or the village, protecting important people, subjugating ninja troops, etc., can only be accepted by Konoha Jonin. Level B, missions that may involve battles between ninjas, personal protection, espionage activities, assassination of ninjas, etc., can be taken by Chunin and Jonin. C level, personal guard, capture beasts, crusade, etc. Genin can be accessed, upward compatible. Level D, light tasks that will not cause combat incidents and do not endanger life, such as taking care of children, digging taro, and finding cats and dogs, can be accepted by Genin, but Chunin and Jonin generally disdain them. And because Shenmu's Class 7 has just become a ninja, it can only take on simple D-level missions. Either she takes care of the children or helps the villagers with farm work. In a blink of an eye, more than half a month had passed since Shenmu became the official ninja of Konoha Village. In half a month, he, who has strong learning ability, accumulated a lot of experience in doing farm work and raising children. It is very different from the dream of becoming a ninja and fighting on the battlefield and participating in various secret activities. However, Shenmu has always been a big-hearted kid, so he didn't complain. Although the tasks are simple, he does each one very seriously. Although these tasks are not challenging now, they are better than safety. If you take on difficult tasks in the future, your life may be in danger one day. Shenmu can calm down. Naruto was so fussy that he couldn't sit still. After completing another dogfinding mission, several people returned to the Hokage conference room to hand in the mission. Naruto was grumbling from the moment he opened the door. Hey, Grandpa 3rd generation, I have been a ninja for more than half a month. Why do I have to do farm work every day? Ninjas should go into battle, not in daily life. Kill your will. After hearing Naruto's words, the 3rd Hokage slowly put down the document in his hand. Naruto, you have only been a ninja for half a month, so don't be too ambitious. Look, Sasuke and Shenmu, who are on the same team as you, didn't say anything. As he spoke, 3rd Hokage looked at Shenmu, and his evaluation of the child was a little higher. Not only does he have super talents and learning abilities, this kid is also down to earth. After half a month of doing miscellaneous tasks, I was always meticulous. They must have been impatient for a long time. They just didn't show it. Naruto curled his lips. Hey, Naruto, You can't be disrespectful to Hokage-sama, Kakashi reminded. Well, since you want a more challenging mission, I just have a sea-level mission responsible for escorting others, Third Hokage said helplessly. Subsequently, the door to Hokage's office was pushed open by a strange man. The man looked to be in his 50s or 60s, wearing glasses, unshaven, and untidy. At this time, the man was still holding a wine bottle in his hand, leaning against the door frame in a daze from drinking, and said slightly dissatisfied, "These are the ninjas who protect me. Why are they just a bunch of kids? Especially that little yellow guy. He looks like an idiot at first glance." Naruto clenched his fists. "I am a serious Konoha shinobi. Don't look down on me." The third Hokage introduced. "This is the person you are going to protect in this mission, Dasna. He is an amazing bridge-building engineer. He's the absolute worst person to give a mission to," Naruto said dissatisfied. "Naruto, wait until Master Hokage finishes speaking." Shenmu tugged at Naruto next to him, asking him to be quiet for a while. The third Hokage then continued. "Your mission this time is to escort Mr. Dazuna back to the Land of Waves to build a bridge. It's very simple, Nami country, so you can leave the village." Naruto almost jumped with joy. The drunken Dasna criticized mercilessly. As expected, a brat is a brat. He must have grown so big that he has never even been out of your village. Naruto, Van Bagayalu. Old man, stop looking down on others. Half an hour later, everyone in Class 7 and Tatsuna arrived outside Konoha Village. Looking back at the tall gate of Konoha Village, Naruto was extremely excited. "Okay, I can finally see the outside world." Even Shenmu began to look forward to it. After being in this world for so long, this was the first time he left the confines of Konoha Village to see another country. Kakashi reminded the group of brats. "Okay, check if you have enough equipment with you." The three people in Class 7 began to check themselves. At this moment, Shenmu suddenly raised his head and looked at a certain location in the surrounding dense forest. He felt a chakra wave. Just after Shenmu made this action, the strange chakra fluctuation disappeared again. Could it be that he was targeted as soon as he left the village? Or maybe I was too nervous, causing my senses to go wrong? "Shenmu, what are you looking at?" Kakashi asked confused. "Nothing. A bird I haven't seen just flew over there." Shenmu made up a reason casually. He was afraid that his senses were really wrong and that he would cause unnecessary panic after speaking out. After the three of them packed up, Kakashi waved his hand. "Okay, let's go, everyone." On the road, everyone in Class 7 was chatting with Dasna all the time. Naruto asked, "Isn't there a ninja village in the Land of Waves? Why was the request sent to Konoha?" "Idiot. How did you learn the basics of ninja school?" Kakashi raised his hand and punched Naruto on the head, then explained to Shuriken, "For many countries on the continent, the existence of ninja villages can be said to be the military strength of a country. In other words, we can use this to deter each other from other countries and maintain diplomatic relations. But having said that, the existence of ninja village is extremely special and is not controlled by the state. As for a small island country like Wave Country, there is no need for a ninja village. The fire country to which our Konoha village belongs, the wind country, the water country, the thunder country, and the earth country are also known as the 5 major countries. They have ninja villages and the top ninja power, so it is not surprising to be entrusted." "So this is Naruto nodded. "Ms. Iruka taught this in class, but I didn't remember it. Can a half-assed ninja like you really protect me?" Dazuna said, slightly dissatisfied. "Don't underestimate me. I am the future Konoha village Hokage." Naruto clenched his fists and swore. "Shadow. That must be the strongest existence among you ninjas." Dasna mused. "Yeah, I'm going to be that person and push that dry old man out of third Hokage." Naruto waved his fists and said with longing, "Hey, don't always be disrespectful to Hokage-sama behind your back." Kakashi is helpless, frustrated face. He had told Naruto many times about this issue. Chapter 28. In the blink of an eye, Shenmu and his party had already walked for half a day. Under normal circumstances, ninjas run very fast and have little need for vehicles. But at this time, Team 7 was performing an escort mission, and they also needed to consider the journey of Dasna, an ordinary person, so they had to walk all the way. So Shenmu was wondering if he could create a vehicle in the Hokage ninja world to make traveling on his own less difficult. How about building a car? Not realistic. I am just a primary school student, and I don't understand the principles of building a car at all. I can only think of other ways. Shenmu thought, looked up, and saw the goshawk hovering above everyone looking for food. Shenmu, what are you thinking about? Naruto came up and pulled Shenmu, who was in a daze. I was wondering if we could let it take us on our way, Shenmu said, pointing to the goshawk a few hundred meters above the ground. Naruto, isn't it a bit too whimsical? Naruto said, yes, that bird is at least a few hundred meters above the ground. Don't dream about it, kid. Tatsuna stepped forward and said. Shenmu remained silent about this. Although it sounded a bit fanciful, he decided to give it a try. Shenmu slowly reached into his ninja tool bag, and took out a shuriken with his own body flicker technique. Then, Shenmu raised his hand and threw the shuriken violently. The shuriken flew vertically into the sky. Unfortunately, the shuriken is limited by gravity, and it is extremely difficult to fly to an altitude of several hundred meters. Halfway through the flight, it stalled and began to descend. At this moment, Shenmu made a hand seal and activated technique. The Shenmu on the ground disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already high in the sky and caught the falling shuriken. Immediately afterwards, the falling Shenmu threw the shuriken again. Call out, throw, teleport, throw. This cycle went on, and after 2 rounds, Shenmu had already arrived at the goshawk side. Goshawk, I was flying fine in the sky, but suddenly someone appeared out of nowhere. Then, it spread its wings and wanted to run. But at this moment, Shenmu pressed his palm on it. A ball of magic appeared and wrapped the goshawk's body. This is the contract-making technique that Shenmu just realized. After activation, you can form a contract with all creatures except humans, communicate with each other psychically, and summon them at any time. As the contract spell was concluded, the goshawk in the sky instantly behaved. Shenmu nimbly turned over onto the eagle and flew to the ground. Sasuke, Naruto, Kakashi, and Tatsuna on the ground. Oh, for Allah, what kind of operation is this? The shock in everyone's hearts at this time was no less than seeing a person stepping on his left foot and his right foot to ascend to the sky. He actually succeeded in trying it. What he just used seemed to be a spell to conjure summoning. Kakashi's exposed eye trembled. Sigma, degree, who taught this kid the art of summoning? Do ninja schools still teach this? At this time, Shenmu, who was riding an eagle from high in the sky, fell down. How about it? Shenmu asked slightly proudly. After Kakashi collected his emotions, he said seriously, don't do this next time. What should I do if something goes wrong? Good teacher. Shenmu nodded obediently. However, he ran into trouble again. This goshawk's body is large, but it can only carry 1 or 2 people at most. And now there are 5 people in the audience, including Dasna, which is difficult to lead. In the end, Shenmu had no choice but to walk. He also proposed that one person take Tatsuna back to the Land of Waves to complete the mission, but teacher Kakashi refused, saying that it would be too dangerous. On the road, Shenmu, who was unwilling to give up, looked around, trying to find a giant beast that could carry 5 people at the same time. However, he didn't see another animal for a long time. While walking, Shenmu suddenly asked, why is there water on the ground when the weather is so nice? Maybe it rained a few days ago. Behind Naruto casually Kaido, Shenmu frowned slightly. Even though it had rained, there was no muddy feeling around the road. There was only a puddle that suddenly appeared in the middle of the road. No matter how strange it seems. While Shenmu was thinking, he felt the strange chakra fluctuation again. At the same time, with his keen senses, he also heard the sound of the chain dragging. Shenmu turned back in a hurry. Be careful. But it was too late after all. 2 strange ninjas dragged Kakashi with a spiked chain. Naruto, who was closest to Kakashi, was scratched by the swung, spiked iron chain and froze in place in the face of the sudden attack. Crack! As the 2 strange ninjas exerted their strength, the chains tightened and Kakashi was crushed into a ball of powder. Shenmu threw the shuriken in his hand at the moment the accident happened. Call out! The extremely fast-flying shuriken split into countless clones in midair and shot at the 2 assassination ninjas. Shuriken clone technique? Isn't this kid a genin? The 2 sneak attack ninjas were frightened and hurriedly waved their chains to block the rain of shurikens from the sky. Ding ding ding. There were constant crisp collision sounds, and Shenmu's shuriken clones were bounced away one by one. However, his goal has been achieved. Because just when the ninja blocked the shuriken, Sasuke escaped with Naruto, who was stunned by the unexpected incident. Shenmu followed closely with his hands and kept changing the sealing techniques. After confirming that Sasuke and Naruto were out of his attack range, Shenmu opened his mouth. Spray out the fire accumulated in your chest. Fire style, dragon fire technique. A random name given by Shenmu. Wow. The red high-temperature flame was spit out by Shenmu, with a dragon head shape at the front. The flame dragon swallowed up the two assassination ninjas instantly. The huge attack range even affects the forests on both sides of the road. Although they were not directly attacked by the fireball spit out by Shenmu, Naruto and Sasuke, who were not far from the high-temperature flames, felt the scorching gas in the fireball. Waves of heat seemed to be drying people out. The two assassination ninjas at the center of the Shenmu fire-style attack were out of luck. It was burned directly. When Shenmu's ninjutsu ended, there was a large, blackened pit in the middle of the road. In the middle of the pit, two charred, unknown corpses lay. Sasuke. Naruto. What kind of ninjutsu is this? It's too strong. After Shenmu killed two assassination ninjas with a fireball, a disgraced Kakashi appeared. Even his mask was burned. The moment he was strangled by the spiked iron chain, he used the body replacement technique to avoid it. The two attacking ninjas were both Chunin, and he could easily deal with them by raising his hand. Therefore, after escaping, he did not immediately return for help. Instead, he stood on a big tree to see how the three Shenmu men would perform against the enemy. Unexpectedly, he was distracted and was burned by Shenmu's ninjutsu. His eyebrows were all burned off by him. Chapter 29. Kakashi first glanced at the two burnt corpses in the pit. Then, he raised his hand and touched his burned eyebrows and burned mask. Kakashi. Sigma, degree, where are my eyebrows? Kakashi, who possesses the Sharingan, has copied thousands of ninjutsu and is known as the copying ninja. So he knew that what Shenmu used just now was just an ordinary C-level ninjutsu, fire-style, dragon fire technique. There are not many ninjas who can learn a tribute ninjutsu after graduating from ninja school, but it does not exist. So it's not surprising that Shenmu knows fire style. What shocked Kakashi the most was the power of the ninjutsu released by Shenmu. A fire dragon not only blasted a big hole directly into the ground. Its coverage is so wide that it even injures myself dozens of meters away. The power is no less than an A-level ninjutsu. Gulu and Mr. Dasner swallowed his saliva. At first, he was a little unhappy when he saw these little brats taking on tasks. How could a group of children with no hair even complete the difficult escort mission? Now, he knows he was wrong. How wrong? Sure enough, ninjas and ordinary people cannot be compared together. This is a magical ninjutsu, destructive enough to easily burn down a small village. Kakashi took out a new mask from his backpack and put it on slowly, then walked slowly to Shenmu. Shenmu just killed two assassination ninjas with a fire style. Thinking that Mr. Kakashi was here to praise me for adapting to circumstances, I raised my face a little proudly. Unexpectedly, Kakashi punched him in the head. Boom. Yaga, don't use such a powerful fire-style ninjutsu in the woods. Do you know it will cause forest fires? Kakashi said angrily. It was precisely because he knew that Shenmu was a rare genius that he deliberately said this. Now he finally figured out that when Third Hokage reminded him not to be too surprised, it was to remind him that Shenmu, a genius, should not be too proud and complacent and suppress him at the right time. No. Shenmu covered his swollen head and said with an aggrieved look, "It seems that there is still a long way to go before becoming a ninja. Next time, the attack range of the spell must be accurate to within a millimeter. So, keep working hard." But the forest next to it is already on fire. Uzumaki. Naruto reminded from the side. Several people looked in the direction pointed by the vortex Naruto, and sure enough they found blazing flames spreading in the forest. You kid got into trouble? Putting out the forest fire requires a huge amount of manpower and material resources. Just a few of you can't do it. Mr. Dasna, who was watching the excitement, said it was not a big deal. He wanted to see how these unreliable ninjas would handle this matter. Kakashi's uncovered single eye reflected the firelight in front of him. The situation was urgent now, and he was no longer in the mood to teach Shenmu a lesson. We must find a way to control this forest fire. Otherwise, Konoha village will definitely be held accountable by the superiors. A few strands of cold sweat broke out on Kakashi's forehead. Using all the chakra in his body to perform the water-style technique should be able to control the fire. Thinking of this, Kakashi's hands kept changing techniques, preparing to form seals. Kakashi sighed. Shenmu also realized that he had caused a big disaster and wanted to make amends, so he also formed a seal with his hands. 2 seconds later, Shenmu completed the tedious sealing process. Water style, Grand Falls technique. Shenmu roared and sprayed out endless water from his mouth, pouring it on the place where the forest fire was burning in front. Kakashi, how come this kid is able to form seals faster than me? Water style, Great Waterfall technique is an offensive A-level ninjutsu in the water style series. It can spray huge water balls from its mouth to attack the enemy. Because it is an A-level ninjutsu, the seals are relatively complicated, with a total of 17 seals. Kakashi can only complete the seal in about 3 seconds at the fastest, which is already beyond most ninjas. But this guy Shenmu actually completed the seal in just 2 seconds. More importantly, the power of the technique used by this guy is not weak at all. The endless water flow quickly extinguished the flames. But Shenmu seemed to feel that it was not safe, and even vomited twice. Kakashi Sigma, did this kid really just graduate from ninja school? Why is he equipped with advanced ninjutsu? Do ninja schools even teach these things now? Okay, it's out. After successfully extinguishing the fire, Shenmu wiped the sweat from his forehead. Gulu, Mr. Dasner swallowed again. Degree delta degree, this. Even if ninjas are stronger than ordinary people, they can't be that much stronger. Can you light a fire by yourself and put it out by yourself? Not far away, Naruto lowered his head in shame. When the assassination ninjas attacked, he was too frightened to move and became a liability to the team. After, he saw that Shenmu was not afraid in the face of danger, using a superb ninjutsu to burn 2 assassination ninjas to death, and now put out the fire. They both came from the same ninja school, and they were still good friends who ate and slept together. The chasm-like gap made Naruto ashamed. Sasuke next to Naruto was only a little more shocked than Naruto. What kind of monster is this? Originally, he thought that Shenmu knew fire style, and he also knew fire style. After rounding off, the difference was not much. I didn't expect Shenmu to be able to use such a powerful water style. Did he and I really take the same class? Why can't he do anything he knows? Shenmu didn't even notice Naruto and Sasuke's expressions. At this time, he was worried about the punishment he would face, and looked at Kakashi worriedly. Then, he noticed that the teacher looked horrified at this moment. Shenmu guessed that he might have been frightened by the forest fire. A forest fire will definitely bring a lot of losses to Konoha. Thinking of this, the guilt in Shenmu's heart deepened. But Shenmu never thought that Kakashi was clearly scared by him. Shenmu lowered his head, as if admitting his mistake. Teacher Kakashi, you can punish me. Although you just put out the fire with water style, the damage caused is irreversible. Huh, yes. You really should be punished. Kakashi was stunned for a moment, but after realizing that he couldn't lose his composure, his tone gradually became firmer. Kakashi taught, then I'll punish you by copying the ninja code 1,000 times. Be careful next time you use ninjutsu. The ability of ninjas is much stronger than that of ordinary people. If you are not careful, it will easily affect the surroundings. You must control your power. Shenmu nodded. He felt that the teacher's punishment was fair and even a little light. After all, before today, he had already experienced several instances of harming others because of his failure to control his power. You must strengthen your control over chakra in the future. Shenmu secretly made up his mind. At this time, Naruto next to him suddenly covered his hands and screamed in pain. Shenmu quickly stepped forward to check. What's wrong? Chapter 30. Just when the 2 assassination ninjas raided Kakashi, Naruto, who was not far from Kakashi, was a little unlucky and was scratched by the spiked chain. At this time, the wound on his hand that was scratched by the thorn chain had turned purple-black. Kakashi glanced at Naruto's wounds. Years of combat experience allowed him to make a judgment. The spiked chains on those 2 people's hands are poisonous. They must be bled quickly, otherwise their lives will be in danger when the poison spreads. Sasuke folded his hands beside him and said, "What a troublesome coward." After Naruto heard this, he rarely retorted, but remained silent on the spot. He has been ashamed of his inaction just now. Now stimulated by Sasuke, Naruto just lowered his head, not knowing what he was thinking. Okay, Naruto, don't stand still, bleed quickly, don't let the toxin invade your brain. Teacher Kakashi reminded. Naruto nodded, gritted his teeth, and took out a kunai from his backpack. Naruto pulled his palm and used kunai to open the injured area, letting the black and red blood flow out. I swear on my injured arm that I will never flinch when danger comes. Uzumaki Naruto spoke, his eyes determined. At this moment, he seemed to have grown up. Shenmu was slightly shocked. He saw the determination in Naruto's eyes and was happy for Naruto's growth. But as a primary school student with common sense, Shenmu reminded, if you don't stop the bleeding quickly, you will die from excessive blood loss. Naruto, who had just finished his cruel words, was instantly relieved and hurriedly searched for a hemostatic bandage in his ninja backpack. Shenmu sighed, took out the bandage he carried, and stepped forward to bandage Naruto. But when she saw Naruto's fresh scratch, Shenmu noticed something was wrong. The wound is already showing signs of healing. Is Naruto's body's self-healing ability so terrifying? Or is there something else disturbing his body? Shenmu looked at Naruto with a dull look on his face, and estimated that even if he asked, Naruto wouldn't be able to explain, so he suppressed the doubts in his heart. After a simple bandage, they were ready to continue on their way. Kakashi suddenly turned around and shouted, Mr. Dazuna, there are some things you need to explain to us. You never said when you posted the mission that you were being targeted by ninjas. The mission you issued is for us to escort you from attacks by thieves and bandits. Fighting ninjas is not included in the scope of sea-level missions. False commissions will cause us a lot of headaches. Mr. Dazner lowered his head in embarrassment and fell silent. Kakashi continued, there is something you need to say clearly, who just attacked you and why they attacked you. Naruto, Sasuke, and Shenmu also set their sights on Dazuna. Although it was fun to go out on missions, they didn't want to be taken advantage of. Facing the gazes of all the ninjas, Dazuna knew that he could no longer hide it, so he simply sat on the ground and began to tell. I'm sorry, I deceived you. Actually, my life has long been targeted by a very scary person. You should have heard of his name, the rich man from the shipping company, Kato. Kakashi's voice rose. He has been doing missions outside Konoha village all year round, so he is no stranger to this name. He is one of the few millionaires in the world, Kakashi said. Dazna nodded. Yes, on the surface he is the big boss of the shipping company, but secretly he uses gangsters and ninjas to buy and sell contraband. In the end, he will even embezzle other companies and countries, and do shady things. About a year ago, this guy targeted the country of waves. With his financial resources and violence, he acted recklessly and monopolized the country's maritime transportation in an instant. As long as an island country like the country of waves controls the sea, it is equivalent to dominating all wealth, politics, and citizens. So, the only thing Kato is afraid of now is that the Kingdom of Waves builds its own bridge to hinder his monopoly. In this case, Uncle Tatsuna, who can build bridges, has become an obstacle to Kato. Naruto understood and said, Not bad, Naruto. You actually sorted it out so quickly. I thought your stupid head couldn't figure it out. Sasuke said jokingly. Naruto, stop looking down on others. Kakashi signaled the two of them to stop talking, and then asked Dazuna, but I still don't understand. Even if your mission is difficult, you can directly explain the situation to the village. That will also make it easier for the village to send you the corresponding ninja for the mission. A commission that conceals the truth will cause a lot of trouble for both of us. Dazuna blushed and explained. The country of waves is a very poor country. Even the daimyo has no money. Naturally, I am also impoverished and cannot afford the high remuneration for B-level and above tasks. Daimyo, equivalent to the princes of the ancient celestial dynasty. Kakashi spread his hands and made a helpless expression. This is a task that is completely outside the scope of our mission. I'm sorry that the mission can only be terminated here. I don't want my students to be harmed. Naruto stood up and said, If we leave, Uncle Dazuna will definitely die, and then the Kingdom of Waves will be under Kato's control forever. Even Sasuke, who had always been cold, stood up and sympathized with Dazuna and said, Yes, without us, Uncle Dazuna will die soon. Kakashi's eyebrows drooped. Sure enough, bringing a bunch of brats is trouble. Uncle Dazna showed an understanding expression. It's okay. This task is indeed beyond your scope. I can understand if you stop returning to the village. Although I will soon be killed by assassination ninjas, the people of Wave Country will always live in dire straits, and my 8-year-old granddaughter will shed tears every day. Don't play the emotional card at this time. Kakashi revealed it ruthlessly. But it has to be said that Dazna's clumsy emotional card did have some effect. Kakashi-sensei, can we help this uncle? Naruto asked. Sasuke also looked at Kakashi with expectant eyes. Kakashi sighed and finally turned his attention to Shenmu. If one person is unwilling to carry out this mission, he will immediately take the entire class back to Konoha. Shenmu met Kakashi's eyes with a thoughtful look on his face. Although saving a country's people sounds lofty, Shenmu also had such a dream. but safety is most important. So, Shenmu asked Kakashi, can you guarantee the safety of the three of us? Kakashi rolled his eyes and smiled. Before I die, I won't let any of you get hurt. Shenmu. But Naruto's hand was scratched just now. Kakashi, benefit. Don't say embarrassing things like that when I set the flag. Chapter 31. In the end, everyone in Class 7 chose to take on this task. Shenmu agreed because he found that teacher Kakashi always had a relaxed expression. It seems that this task is not a problem for Mr. Kakashi. Since life safety can be ensured, there is no harm in taking this trip. After advancing for another half-day, the group arrived at the beach. After some negotiation between Uncle Dazna and a certain boatman, the boatman showed a longing expression and decided to take a few people to the country of waves. As he got closer to the kingdom of waves, Shenmu found that the fog on the sea became bigger and bigger. After walking for a while, Shenmu found an unfinished bridge on the sea. Uncle Dazna pointed to the bridge and said, my mission when I come back is to completely complete this bridge so that the country of waves can have transportation to the outside world and get rid of Cardo's clutches. We are saving the people of a country. Excited Naruto shook Shenmu's hand and said. Shenmu nodded, feeling that he had made the right choice. Soon, the boat sailed to the kingdom of waves, and Shenmu and his party landed ashore. After landing, Uncle Dazna's expression was obviously much more relaxed. I finally arrived in the country of waves. Please send me home safely. Kakashi still looked listless and looked troubled. Now that we have landed in the land of waves, if there are any ninjas coming to attack, they are probably either Chunin or Jonin. You three must be careful at all times. Don't worry, Mr. Kakashi. I can protect myself, Naruto assured, slapping his chest. Shenmu looked around cautiously. From the moment he landed on the island, he had a strange feeling, as if someone was always watching him. On the way, Uncle Dazuna was responsible for guiding the way, and was protected by Shenmu, Sasuke, and Kakashi in the middle. Naruto, that guy, didn't move when he was attacked last time. This time he wanted to avenge his shame and prove himself, so he kept exploring the way ahead. Kakashi walked up to Naruto in dissatisfaction and punched Naruto on the head. Hey, don't be so suspicious. You're making everyone's nerves tense. Naruto touched his swollen head and insisted. What does it mean to be suspicious? What I mean is to be cautious. After saying that, Naruto seemed to notice something strange somewhere. The shuriken in his hand came out. Shenmu also felt something strange and looked in the direction where Naruto threw the shuriken. Kakashi punched Naruto's head again. Don't throw dangerous things like shurikens rashly. It's easy to accidentally injure ordinary people. Naruto covered his head and stepped forward to check without giving up. Shenmu, Sasuke, and Tatsuna followed him and approached. Pushing aside the bushes, Naruto's shuriken was nailed to the root of a tree. The front end of the shuriken penetrated the rabbit ears of an innocent white rabbit and nailed him to the spot. Fortunately, this is a small animal, not a person. Otherwise, you would have been taken to the land of waves and imprisoned, Sasuke said. Kakashi stared at the little white rabbit on the root of the tree with a thoughtful expression. Shenmu said at this time, strange, white fur. This kind of rabbit has white fur. It should be in the winter when the daylight hours are short. Or, it is raised indoors where it is not exposed to sunlight. As for the role of feeding, Kakashi walked up and said, it is specially used as a substitute. Shenmu took half a step back in shock. If you put it this way, danger lurks around. Kakashi quickly ordered, protect Mr. Dazuna. At this moment, wow! In the dense forest, a big knife, more than 2 meters long, flew out. The broadsword spun and flew towards Dazna's head. Shenmu hurriedly took out the shuriken from his ninja bag and threw it at the big sword. Swish, swish, swish. The shuriken split into thousands of clones and collided with the huge sword. Ding, 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 ding. The constant collision caused the attack angle of the broadsword to deviate. It was chopped down on a tree to the left of Shenmu's group. Next, a figure emerged from the dense forest, jumped onto the handle of the broadsword that was chopped on the tree. Kakashi's eyes turned cold after seeing this person. The Kirigakure rebel ninja known as Mist Shinobi, Zabuza Momochi. Teacher Kakashi, leave this person to me. The people stood up and spoke with dignity. As soon as he finished speaking, Kakashi scolded him. Go back. You will be killed by this guy. Naruto. What? Kakashi introduced. His name is Momochi Zabuza. He was one of the 7 Kirigakure ninja swordsmen. He was the best at the silent killing technique. He was a truly cruel ninja. It is said that in his ninja graduation exam, he single-handedly killed all the students in that class. Shenmu's eyes widened in shock and asked, "Approximately how many people are there?" Before Kakashi could speak, Zabuza, who was standing on the hilt of the beheading sword, answered Shenmu's question and said proudly, "Not many, only about 100. Shenmu, Naruto, Sasuke, Sigma, degree, is this the real ruthless person?" Shenmu took half a step back in shock. Looking back on my ninja graduation exam, I just answered a few questions and used a few ninjutsu. Compared with other people's graduation exams, they are just children in mud. Sure enough, there are people outside the world, and there is a sky outside the world. It seems that there are countless powerful ninjas in this world. Zabuza's cold and sharp gaze directly ignored the 3 Shenmu children and fell directly on Kakashi. "Copy ninja, Kakashi, I remember your name in my assassination manual. I have Sharingan and have copied more than 1,000 ninjutsu. It seems that if you want to kill my mission target, you need to be killed first." Kakashi did not directly answer Zabuza's words, but turned back to the Shenmu trio. "You 3, protect Mr. Tatsuna and wait for an opportunity to escape. Don't hesitate. Don't worry, none of you can escape," Zabuza said with an arrogant expression. After saying that, he jumped onto the lake nearby and quickly formed seals with his hands. Mist shinobi technique. Wow. On the lake, the white mist began to rise and fill the air, covering the 3 Shenmu and Kakashi. The fog became thicker and thicker, blocking the sight of Shenmu and the others. In the oppressive fog, Shenmu's breathing became tense and rapid. This was the first time he felt threatened. "You 3 protect Mr. Dazuna." In the mist, Kakashi reminded him. In the white mist, Machi Zabuza's cold and emotionless voice echoed. "Throat, spine, lungs, liver, carotid artery, subclavian artery, kidneys, heart, so many vital points. Which one do you think I should choose?" Zabuza said jokingly. He enjoyed the frightened and desperate expressions on these people's faces. Chapter 32. White mist enveloped everyone in Class 7. Sasuke's body was trembling, and he could feel the killing intent that was almost solidified. The person who is pressed can't breathe. It seems that one wrong move will lead to death immediately. This is Jonin's murderous intent. This feeling of being at the mercy of others is so helpless. Kakashi quickly discovered that something was wrong with Sasuke and comforted him. "Sasuke, don't be afraid. I will protect you even if it means risking my life." Zabuza in the white mist spoke. "Really?" The next moment, Shenmu felt a shadow beside him. Looking back, it was Zabuza who was carrying the beheading sword. Zabuza raised his sword high and slashed at Uncle Tatsuna. At this moment, Shenmu took out 2 kunai from his ninja tool bag and stood in front of Uncle Dazuna. When? There was a muffled sound, which made Shenmu's hands numb. On the other side, Zabuza was equally surprised. How old is this child that he can block his own decapitating sword? The next moment, something happened that shocked him even more. Green energy steam erupted from Shenmu's whole body. He grabbed the back of his decapitating sword and pulled it back violently. Zabuza never expected that this child would possess such weird taijutsu. The moment the sword was taken away, he was distracted for a moment. Immediately afterwards, Kakashi approached with a kunai. The sharp blade scratched Zabuza's throat. But what flowed out of his wound was not blood, but water. "It's the water clone." Kakashi instantly realized something was wrong and stood in front of Shenmu. At this moment, Zabuza appeared strangely behind Shenmu, swung his decapitating sword in his hand, and slashed towards Shenmu. "You're a pretty good kid, but it's a pity that you will die by my knife soon." Just finished speaking, Zabuza found out. The kid in front of his beheading sword actually disappeared. Zabuza, Sigma, degree winky face, what kind of magic is this? You were clearly still here just now. Zabuza split the air with one strike, and Kakashi formed a seal quickly. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. Wow. The water flow gathered into a dragon shape and charged towards Zabuza. However, when the dragon-shaped water flow came into contact with Zabuza's body, only then did Kakashi realize that this Zabuza was also a water body. Behind Dazna, the real Zabuza's body emerged, raising his beheading sword high in the hand and slashing downwards with all his strength. Shwa. When? The one who blocked Zabuza this time was Sasuke, who had been protecting Uncle Tatsuna. At the same time, Naruto besides Sasuke was not idle either. Naruto, who was anxious to prove himself, held a kunai in his hand and stabbed Zabuza without hesitation. Naruto's kunai was about to hit Zabuza's body, and Zabuza had to give up the attack, retreat backwards, and pull away. Shenmu then appeared next to Naruto using the body flicker technique and shot out a kunai. "You three did a great job," Kakashi said appreciatively. These three little ghosts not only protected their own safety just now, but also protected Uncle Dazna, who was the target of the mission. Commendable. As soon as Kakashi finished speaking, he found that Shenmu, who was supposed to be standing with Sasuke Naruto, disappeared. Kakashi, ring an equal to oh. What the hell did that kid do again? The other side. Zabuza, who retreated narrowly, dodged the kunai that flew past his cheek. Just when he was rejoicing, Shenmu used kunai's body flicker technique to teleport behind Zabuza. Shenmu took the kunai in midair and plunged it down hard. Zabuza, who has many years of combat experience, felt the sound of wind coming from his ears, picked up the huge beheading sword, and raised it. In the end, Shenmu's kunai was one step ahead and pierced Zabuza's shoulder. At the same time, the moment the kunai penetrated Zabuza's body, Shenmu placed a body flicker technique on Zabuza's shoulders. After Shenmu completes this, immediately use the body flicker technique to move to Naruto. And the sword in Zabuza's hand was empty again. There was severe pain in his shoulder, and Zabuza was very angry at this time. Forget it if it's a copy of the ninja Kakashi. The key point is that he was beaten so badly by a little kid. The child was beaten with a series of moves and was unable to fight back, and he didn't even touch anyone's hair. Soon, Zabuza came to his senses. The one used by the red-haired kid seems to be the yellow glitter flying thunder god technique from back then. Be good. The yellow flash of the year, with this hand, was invincible in the Third Ninja War, and eventually became the fourth Hokage of Konoha. How old is this kid now? 12 years old. He learned the extremely difficult S-level ninjutsu at the age of 12. When Zabuza graduated from the ninja school and killed more than 100 candidates at the same level, he was not as frightened as he is now. Konoha has a super genius. On the other side, Shenmu, who teleported to Naruto, gave Kakashi a wink. Kakashi reacted instantly and quietly gave Shenmu a thumbs up. Then, Kakashi took away the forehead protector that had been blocking his left eye, revealing his red left eye. This was Shenmu's first direct look at the legendary Sharingan. The red eye whites and black pupils give people a coquettish sense of power. On the other side, Zabuza ran to the lake and quickly formed seals. The water in the lake can enhance the power of his water style. On the shore, Kakashi's Sharingan stared at Zabuza's hand and followed the seal. Two Jonin-level ninjas, extremely fast with their hands. Shenmu glanced at Kakashi and then at Zabuza on the lake. Their movements were completely synchronized. There seems to be no delay in the movements copied by Mr. Kakashi. Then, at Kakashi's look, Shenmu retreated behind Naruto and Sasuke. The next moment, the two ninjas successfully formed the seal and shouted at the same time. Water style, Grand Falls technique. Uzumaki-like water flow gathered in front of the two of them, rushing towards the opposite side. Just as the two Jonin were performing their ninjutsu, Shenmu's body suddenly rushed out and ran straight towards Zabuza on the opposite side. You are too young to attack me sneakily. Zabuza snorted coldly and swept the beheading sword in his hand again. This time, his sword finally accurately hit Shenmu's neck. Crack! Cut Shenmu in two with one knife. Wow. Next moment, the clone Shenmu's body turned into lightning and attached to the decapitating sword. The electric current instantly paralyzed Momochi Zabuza's body. Zabuza equals, it's over, got into a big competition. Immediately afterwards, the main body Shenmu uses the body flicker technique to come behind Zabuza and quickly form a seal. Water style, water prison technique. Wow. Shenmu presses down with his right hand. The lake water was drawn out by Shenmu, forming a water ball, wrapping Zabuza's body inside. Zabuza. Degree is identical to degree. Chapter 33. I didn't expect it to be successful. What a surprising little guy. Kakashi wiped the sweat from his forehead and said. Just after Shenmu glanced at him, he understood that Shenmu had cast the Flying Thunder God technique on Zabuza. The situation was urgent at that time, and Kakashi could only choose to trust Shenmu and believe that Shenmu could control Zabuza. So he used Sharingan and Zabuza to engage in a ninjutsu duel to create opportunities for Shenmu. The result is obvious. Shenmu did not disappoint him. At the same time, what Shenmu just performed shocked Kakashi even more. In just a few rounds with Zabuza, Shenmu used 8 inner gates, Flying Thunder God and Water Style. And no matter which technique it is, this kid is very proficient in using it, and he can do it with ease. Even in the final Water Style seal formation speed, it was even better than myself. Genius. Apart from this adjective, Kakashi can't think of any other adjective that suits Shenmu better. What just happened? Did you see clearly? Naruto poked Sasuke, who was standing next to him, blankly. He remembered that Zabuza came to him and swung 2 swords, and he fought a Genin Jutsu with Mr. Kakashi, and then he was suddenly controlled by Shenmu. I don't know exactly how it was done. Sasuke held his forehead. Now he has realized the difference between himself and Shenmu. This can no longer be made up for by hard work. What did this guy grow up on to know so many ninjutsu? Could it be that during prenatal education, he practiced the seals? On the other side, Zabuza was controlled by Shenmu in the water prison technique. He had 110,000 dissatisfactions in his heart, but he didn't know how to express them. In the end, he suppressed his blush. Shame. What a shame. Miss Shinobi, who was famous throughout the ninja world for his silent assassination techniques, was actually killed by a Konoha Genin in just a few moves. Now he is still locked up in a water prison in humiliation. Zabuza just felt ashamed and angry to death. Kakashi-sensei, how should we deal with this guy? Shenmu controlled the water prison and asked Kakashi. Leave it to Kirigakure. This guy is a rebel ninja from Kirigakure. They will definitely have a dedicated pursuit ninja to deal with it. Kakashi thought for a moment and answered. Why don't you kill him directly so that you don't have to worry about it later? Shenmu asked. Kakashi explained. Killing him directly would cause unnecessary conflicts. The body of a ninja contains the ninjutsu secrets of each ninja village, the nature of the chakra, and the ingredients of the secret medicine used on the body. Just like if my body is obtained by another village, Sharingan's secrets will be unearthed soon, and maybe even ninjutsu will be obtained by them. Is that so? Then let's get rid of it secretly without his body, and no one will know that we did it, Naruto said at this time. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from a big tree nearby. Kid, I heard what you just said. Shenmu and the others looked for the sound and found a masked ninja standing on the canopy of the tree. He is Miss Shinobi's pursuit ninja. Kakashi glanced at the mask on the man's face and explained. Pursuing ninjas is responsible for killing rebellious ninjas who have escaped from the village. They can use appropriate methods to destroy the bodies of rebellious ninjas and eliminate traces of them to prevent the secrets of their own village from being known to other villages. That's it. Shenmu nodded. The pursuing ninja of Mist Shinobi jumped onto the water next to Shenmu and glanced at Shenmu in surprise. This kid is obviously younger than me, but he can actually trap Zabuza with the water prison technique. Kirigakure's pursuing ninja took out a few thin needles from his ninja tool bag, faced Shenmu and said, Please release the water prison technique. If you cancel it rashly, this guy will run out, right? Shenmu asked. It's okay. I will be responsible for controlling him, the masked Miss Shinobi ninja affirmed. Shenmu glanced at Teacher Kakashi, nodded with Teacher Kakashi's consent, and took his hand out of the water prison while guarding against the Mist Shinobi ninja. Wow! The water ball used to control Zabuza disintegrated instantly. At the moment when the water prison was released, the Kirikage's pursuing ninja pricked Zabuza's neck with several thin needles. Zabuza's body immediately went limp, and he went straight to GG. Thank you for your help. I will properly dispose of Zabuza's body and the beheading sword. After saying that, the pursuing ninja carried Zabuza's body and disappeared on the spot. Naruto on the shore was very angry. How can it be repaired? Damn it! The person we have fought so hard for so long was actually killed by someone else in the end. Sasuke clasped his hands beside him, looking cool. What are you so angry about? Shenmu was obviously the one who did the most work just now. Naruto, I feel worthless for Shenmu. Uncle Dazna stood up at this time and said, Okay, thank you for your help. We are very close to my home now. Let's go there quickly. After walking for so long, I really want to eat a bowl of ramen, Naruto said, touching his hungry stomach. I want to eat braised pork. Shenmu stated his simplest request. Huh, I've never heard of the name of the dish. Uncle Dazna looked stunned. I haven't heard of it either. Kakashi scratched his head. He had lived in Konoha for so many years and had never heard of this dish. You haven't heard of this? Shenmu was slightly surprised, then Shuriken explained. The braised pork is made from fat and lean pork belly, and the condiments used are, after it is finished, it is sweet, soft, and nutritious. Fat and thin. It melts in your mouth and is delicious. Although it's a dish I've never heard of, It looks delicious. A fascinated expression appeared on Sasuke's face. Greedy Naruto was already swallowing his saliva. Shenmu knows how to cook. Let's do it once a day. I really want to eat it. Shenmu, won't you learn to cook by yourself? Meanwhile, on the other side, the mist shinobis pursuing Ninja carried Zabuza's body and came to a hidden forest somewhere. Then, he pulled out several slender needles from Zabuza's neck. Ahem! Zabuza coughed twice and resurrected from suspended animation. As expected of the clone ninja Kakashi, he was able to drive Mr. Zabuza to a dead end, said the mist shinobi chasing Ninja. Although he saw Shenmu imprisoning Zabuza in a water prison, he only thought it was Kakashi's arrangement. In fact, Kakashi didn't even move his hands a few times just now. Zabuza blushed, then gritted his teeth and said, "It's that kid. That kid not only knows the Flying Thunder God technique, but also the Grandmaster Water style." The masked mist shinobi chasing Ninja opened his mouth in surprise. Huh? Flying Thunder God technique? That kind of powerful time and space ninjutsu is not just... Zabuza raised his hand and interrupted what he wanted to say next. Don't remind me, I know. Also, can you take off that deceptive mask on your face? Chapter 34. Soon, Class 7 followed Dazna to his house. As soon as Dazna arrived home, he began to discuss the specific matters of bridge repair with various villagers. Dazna, if we follow you and continue to build the bridge, we will also be targeted by Cardo, and we may be assassinated one day. Yes, we are just ordinary people. We can't stand up to rich people like Cardo. Consider yourself unlucky, who made us meet the vampire Cardo. Listen to what the folks have to say. Dazna strengthened his determination to build the bridge. He knew that the spines of this group of people had been taken away by Cardo because of fear and fear. Repairing the bridge is the only way for them to regain courage and confidence. Everyone in Class 7 on the side listened to the villagers' speeches and felt equally chilled. Uncle Dazuna rushed home all the way from Konoha village in order to return to his country to build a bridge. Unexpectedly, what awaited him was the indifferent villagers. If these people are the ones who benefit from building the bridge, I think it's okay not to repair the bridge. Naruto said angrily. When other people encounter problems, these people only know how to stand on the sidelines and are afraid to take responsibility. When there are benefits, everyone scrambles to get ahead. At this time, Dazuna's grandson jumped out and said, "The country of Wave does not need heroes at all. Heroes are the most ridiculous thing." After saying that, the kid rushed out of the door. Dazuna showed a helpless expression. Listening to the arguments of these villagers, the more they listened, the more upset they became. Shenmu and the others simply went upstairs to rest. After going upstairs, Shenmu began to think about it. Since Wood Style can build houses, can it also build a bridge? The next day, Kakashi gathered the 3 members of Class 7 in an open space outside Dazuna's house. Then, start practicing from now on. Kakashi shouted vigorously. It's finally time to start practicing, Naruto said excitedly and longingly. Kakashi, before training, I will tell you about the ninja's abilities and chakra from the basics. Sasuke curled his lips. It's so troublesome. Naruto, we already know this kind of thing. Just get to the point. Kakashi raised his hand and pointed at Naruto. Since we already know it, Naruto, please come and tell us again. Naruto, ##% #. Naruto only roughly knew that chakra was the prerequisite for ninjas to use ninjutsu, and it was the energy in the body. But if I ask him to explain it systematically, he really can't do it. Kakashi had expected that Naruto would not be able to speak, so he pointed to Shenmu next to him. Shenmu, please tell me. Shenmu directly memorized the explanation of chakra from the book word for word. Chakra is 200 words omitted. Chakra can stimulate this energy through the movement of seals. After listening, Kakashi gave Shenmu a thumbs up. As expected of a master taught by Iruka sensei. That said, as long as you know how to use it, it will be fine. We are now able to use ninjutsu, Naruto said, slightly dissatisfied. Naruto is right. Sasuke rarely agreed with Naruto's words. Kakashi sneered at this. You guys can only use ninjutsu, but you can't use chakra flexibly? Okay, now listen to me. As Shenmu just said, exercising chakra is to extract the physical and mental powers and mix them in the body. Then the rest is to mobilize the energy required for each according to the spell you want to activate. You are still unable to use chakra efficiently. No matter how much chakra you exercise, if you cannot control the balance, the effect of the spell will be very poor. So what you have to learn today is to control the balance of chakra to achieve more subtle control. Then how should we exercise? Shenmu asked. It's easy, just climb a tree. Kakashi held out a finger. Climbing a tree sounds unreliable. Naruto said. I'll show you now. After saying that, Kakashi walked straight to a big tree next to him. Lifting his feet, he actually walked up. Its body is parallel to the ground. It forms a 90-degree angle to the tree trunk. Stepping on the tree trunk is as easy as stepping on the ground. Not only can Kakashi walk on the surface of a big tree, he can even hang upside down from a tree using his incredible control over chakra. Amazing! Naruto clenched his fists excitedly. Kakashi finished his demonstration and jumped down from the tree trunk. Okay, now you can try it yourself. Shenmu remembers the balance that Kakashi told him just now and takes steps with his heart like sure sway. Climb the tree. 1 step, 2 steps, 10 steps. It seems not difficult. Kakashi-sensei, I succeeded, Shenmu shouted excitedly. At this time, Kakashi just leaned against the root of a tree and took out his favorite intimate paradise. Then he stood up in shock at Shenmu's words. Succeeded so quickly? Kakashi looked up and found Shenmu hanging upside down on the branch by only his feet, with a relaxed look on his face. After thinking for a while, Kakashi was relieved. That's right, this kid seemed to be standing on the water when he controlled Zabuza with the water prison technique yesterday. It is not unusual to be able to control chakra and walk directly up a tree now. Okay, Shenmu's training is over. You two can continue practicing. Kakashi waved his hand to indicate that Shenmu could come down, and then spoke to Sasuke and Naruto in a cold tone. At this time, Naruto had just taken 2 steps on the tree trunk. After hearing these words, he fell down and hit the back of his head on a stone, causing a big bump. Naruto, Shenmu is too strong. After saying that, Naruto approached Shenmu and asked Shenmu for tips on climbing trees. It's very simple. First use chakra to gather on the soles of your feet, and then calm yourself. After Shenmu's explanation, Naruto suddenly understood. Seeing this scene, Sasuke felt itchy in his heart. He also wanted to go up and ask Shenmu for tips, but he was too proud to go. After that, Shenmu went elsewhere to train ninjutsu. And Naruto has made rapid progress because of the 2 sentences Shenmu just mentioned. From the beginning, I could only take 2 steps on the tree, but now I can walk 20 or 30 steps. Kakashi was secretly shocked beside him. Did Shenmu give Naruto an elixir? Why is it that with just a few casual remarks, this kid becomes enlightened? Or should we say that Shenmu is a natural teacher? No matter how stupid his students are, they can all learn something from him. Sasuke found that Naruto, who had been given advice by Shenmu, had already surpassed him, so he shamelessly approached Naruto and asked, "What is the trick that Shenmu told you just now? Tell me too." Naruto. Sasuke, you love pretending to be cool every day, but you never thought you would beg me one day. After all, they were in the same class. In the end, Naruto told Sasuke what he had realized. You do this first, then that, and then this, and come up. Sasuke felt like he was going crazy after hearing this. Degree, Sasuke. Is this what Shenmu said? How could Shenmu say such incompetent words? Naruto nodded firmly. Yeah, Sasuke, if what Shenmu just said was true, I would eat the tree. Chapter 35. Because of Naruto's nonsense, Sasuke's training progress was slowed down. In the end, Mr. Kakashi couldn't stand it any longer and punched Naruto. At the same time, in the dense forest on the other side, after Shenmu made sure that no one was around, she started her own with style training. Just as he thought before. Since wood style can build a house, it can theoretically also use intricate wood to build a bridge. Wood style bridge. Shenmu crossed his hands in a seal and shouted. Then, countless wooden pillars poked out from under the earth and formed a small arch bridge. Shenmu tried to step up and step on it, but it was able to bear the weight. Then he realized that what the country of waves wanted to build was a cross-sea bridge. A few pieces of wood alone could not meet the demand. Bridge piers made of cement and steel bars were also needed. Although Earth style can build bridge piers, the steel bars still have to be artificially filled in. It's a pity that I don't know how to use ninjutsu that can change metal. Otherwise, if I combine it with wood style Earth style, I might be able to build a bridge. Shenmu chanted. Night. Teacher Kakashi faced everyone in Class 7 and announced something important. Now that Uncle Dazna has returned to China, he has continued the construction of the cross-border bridge. That guy from Cardo will definitely not give up, so I decided that Team 7 will stay here for 1 more month to protect Uncle Dazna. After Kakashi finished speaking, his right eye glanced at the three people in Class 7. Shenmu looked thoughtful, not knowing what he was thinking. Naruto and Sasuke obviously wanted to help Tazuna and nodded in agreement. After eating, Shenmu, who humbly asked for advice, opened the door of the room where Kakashi lived. "Teacher, there is one thing I don't understand," Shenmu said. Kakashi could already guess Shenmu's question, but still made a gesture to please speak. "Uncle Dazna clearly lied to us. Why did we protect him for so long?" Shenmu asked. After Kakashi heard Shenmu's words, he replied without hesitation. "Fourth Hokage once said something. Not doing what is right is not brave." Shenmu nodded. "So to be a ninja, you should have a chivalrous heart and draw your sword to help when there is injustice?" Kakashi glanced at Shenmu approvingly. "That's pretty much what it means. But the prerequisite for acting bravely is to be able to protect yourself." "Okay, teacher. I understand." Shenmu suddenly realized. It turns out that ninjas don't just do things for the benefit of their own village. You also need to have a psychological bottom line that you stick to. The next day, Naruto and Sasuke continued to practice tree climbing, and Shenmu, who had nothing to do, was responsible for protecting Uncle Dazuna. Here, he met Dazuna's grandson Inari, the little guy who shouted, "Heroes are the most ridiculous," on the day Class 7 first arrived. Shenmu discovered that this kid seemed to be hiding something deep in his heart. Last night when he went to bed, when he passed by the little guy's room, he saw him crying while holding a photo frame. So, the leisurely Shenmu wandered over to Inari and chatted with him like a friend. Maybe the child is lonely, or maybe Shenmu himself is extremely approachable. In short, he quickly asked the little guy about his previous experience. It turns out that he had a stepfather before him, who was a hero on the island. But because Cardo targeted the Kingdom of Waves, he first pointed his gun at his stepfather and brutally killed him in front of everyone. It was also from then on that Inari's ideas changed, and she felt that being a hero was a silly thing. After hearing this story, Shenmu sympathized with Inari's stepfather and felt sorry for him. "Heroes protect what they value," Shenmu said. "That man protects the things he cares about with both hands and is a warrior." But when he was executed, there were so many onlookers around him, but no one came forward. After his death, no one dared to take up his torch. Even his son Inari is so timid that he cries holding the photo frame all day long. Shenmu raised his head and looked at Uncle Dazna, who was sweating profusely on the bridge. The uncle had a towel hanging on his body, constantly wiping the sweat beads, and tirelessly carrying various building materials. There were only a dozen or so people helping him. Others chose to give up and wait and see because they were afraid of Cardo's rights. Shenmu felt heartbroken when he thought about the profits that such people would make after the bridge was completed. Shenmu stood up and sighed, scanning his surroundings to see if there was any potential danger. Suddenly, a worker called Shenmu and pointed to the resting shack not far away. "Young man, the sun is very hot now. You and Inari can sit under the parasol over there." Shenmu's pupils trembled, the heart is touched. Although those who watch and remain indifferent are not worthy of stepping onto the bridge. But there is no shortage of kind and simple people among human beings, and they are worthy. If the bridge is repaired, these good people can escape Cardo's control. "It's okay, uncle. I'm a ninja." Shenmu responded to the uncle with a smile. Then his hands formed the clone technique seal, multiple shadow clone technique. Swish, 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 swish. On the bridge, there were hundreds of Shenmu. The workers building the bridge around were stunned. Is this the power of a ninja? One person is as good as an army. It's so amazing. Only gods can have such power. Are young ninjas that strong? Isn't the adult ninja from the Tazuna family even stronger? Do your best. Hundreds of clones of Shenmu spoke at the same time, picked up the building materials on the shore, and joined the engineering team. Uncle Dazna was so excited that he almost cried. In the past 2 days, he had been worrying about the number of people. After all, if they only relied on a dozen or so people, it would probably have to wait until the year of the monkey to complete the bridge. But with these mini ninja clones, things are different, and the progress has been greatly increased. Shenmu and his clones joined the cause of building a bridge. Half an hour's work was equivalent to what Dazna and the others had done in a whole day. Not far from the bridge, Cardo, who was short and fat, held a telescope and looked at the mini ninja clones on the bridge. His face turned green with anger. If they continue building it like this, the bridge will be completed in less than 2 months. Bang! With a sound, the angry Cardo threw the telescope in his hand and pointed in the direction of the bridge. Next to Cardo, a samurai bodyguard carrying a long sword said, "Boss, Didn't you hire a rebel ninja from Miss Shinobi to assassinate Tazuna? Kato knew that the person the bodyguard was talking about was Zabuza and showed an impatient expression. That guy is a waste. Not to mention that after 2 of his men failed to assassinate him, the guy himself was also killed and almost died. Life. It's time to urge him. We can't accept our deposit and do nothing. Another bodyguard said. Cardo nodded. A fierce look flashed in his small eyes under his sunglasses. That arrogant and unpleasant guy. Once he takes care of Dasna, I will take care of him too. Chapter 36. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days passed. These days, with the help of Naruto and Kakashi, Uncle Dazuna's bridge repair progress has been much faster. It's almost completed in just over 10 days. Naruto and Sasuke, on the other hand, are busy training these days and can be said to be sleepless. That night, excited Naruto and Sasuke opened Kakashi's door. Kakashi-sensei, we finally succeeded. Now we can climb to the top of the tree. Kakashi showed a satisfied expression and patted the heads of the 2 little guys approvingly. The bridge will be completed soon. Since you 2 have completed your training, you 2 will accompany me to protect Uncle Dasna tomorrow and let Shenmu rest for a day. Sasuke and Naruto have no objections to this. They also knew that during their more than 10 days of training, Shenmu had been doing the protection task. That guy Shenmu even helps the islanders build bridges every day. I'm so tired these days that I almost fall asleep after returning home. Although he was tired, it could be seen that the guy seemed very satisfied. Perhaps this is what Teacher Kakashi said. Do what is right and cultivate yourself. Don't worry, you can let Shenmu rest peacefully tomorrow. Sasuke and I will be fully responsible for Uncle Dazuna's safety. Naruto grinned, showing a big white fang, and said confidently. Now that the practice is complete, he feels that his control over chakra has reached a higher level. I hope Uncle Dasna will encounter something tomorrow, so that he can show off his performance. Kakashi nodded and drove the 2 out. The next day, Shenmu worked on the bridge for more than 10 days and was ordered to rest by Kakashi. When Kakashi first told Shenmu, he refused. Because Shenmu spent the time helping the islanders. Although he was very tired, he lived a very fulfilling life. And he did not give up on the cultivation of strength. During the labor process, he gained some insights and improved his control of physical skills and the use of chakra. In the end, Kakashi forced him to take a day off, and he continued to sleep. Here, Shenmu had just fallen asleep and was woken up by the noisy sound downstairs. Shenmu got up and went downstairs and found Uncle Dazuna's daughter playing with 2 samurai. The time came a few minutes ago. The 2 samurai roughly pushed open the door of Dazuna's house, cursing and saying that they needed a hostage. Then, the 2 set their sights on Uncle Dazuna's daughter and wanted to take her outside. At this time, a certain samurai discovered Inari's existence. So, the 2 samurai began to discuss whether to kill the kid. After all, only one hostage was enough. As soon as the 2 samurai came up with this idea, their lives were threatened by Dazuna's daughter. She said that if the samurai dared to harm her son, she would bite her tongue and kill herself so that they would have no hostages to use. Finally, the warriors, who did not want to cause trouble, had no choice but to take the woman out of the door. Inari, who was hiding behind the door, saw all this clearly, but out of fear, he never said a word. In the end, he watched his mother being taken away by the warriors. When Shenmu went downstairs, Inari's mother had been taken out of the door by 2 samurai. Inari cried behind the door because of fear and self-blame. Just when Shenmu wanted to step forward and ask about the situation, Inari, who was kneeling on the ground crying, suddenly stood up and clenched his fists. He thought of what Shenmu said to him a few days ago. A hero protects what he values. This time, I won't run away anymore, Inari said, rushing out the door. Shenmu stood behind him from beginning to end. Seeing the change in the child's attitude, Shenmu was sincerely happy. It seems that Inari has finally inherited his stepfather's will and is no longer afraid of retreating. Of course, Shenmu didn't think Inari could save his mother from the 2 samurai, so he decided to help him. In the woods outside Dazna's house, Inari's thin body stood in front of 2 strong warriors. I'm sorry, I can't let you take my mother away. Inari's voice trembled with fear, but his movements and eyes were extremely firm. Inari's mother looked at her son who had become a stranger, and in a trance, she saw the shadow of her husband. Immediately afterwards, the woman's eyes became lonely because he knew the fate of her husband. Inari, you have become just like your father. Hey kid, we originally wanted to let you go, but since you are seeking death yourself, don't blame us for being rude. A certain samurai drew his katana from his waist and pointed the tip of the sword directly at Inari. Seeing this, the woman repeated her old tactics and threatened, "If you dare to hurt my son, I will bite my tongue and commit suicide without hesitation." Another samurai who was responsible for escorting the woman struck the woman on the back of the neck with a knife, knocking her unconscious. Women are really troublesome. Two samurai approached Inari. Inari looked at the two ferocious warriors who were slowly approaching him and stepped back tremblingly. The warrior walking in front shook the long sword in his hand, with a playful and cruel look in his eyes. "Don't worry, kid. I won't kill you with one knife. I will chop off your arm first, and then chop off your body. Calf, let you." The samurai described his cruel killing methods with a nonchalant expression. He enjoyed the feeling of controlling other people's lives the most. Listening to the bloody scenes described by the samurai, Inari was so frightened that his whole body shook like chaff. "Don't touch me. There are a few ninjas responsible for protecting my grandfather. If they find out, you will be dead," Inari said, pretending to be calm. The samurai sneered. "Haha, ninja? They're just a bunch of shady guys. Just let him come over and see if he can survive 2 blows from my katana." The warrior had just finished speaking. Shenmu appeared behind Inari holding a kunai. The two warriors looked at the kid who suddenly appeared and took 2 steps back in fear. They noticed the forehead protector on the red-haired kid's head and confirmed his identity. After reacting, the samurai saw that the other party only had a child and immediately began to become arrogant again. "You are the ninja this kid said, right? You have red hair like a tomato." Shenmu hates people using this title to refer to him the most. Tomato? Hey, are you still angry? Today I will show you how to cut tomatoes with a knife. A samurai showed his long sword and struck Shenmu in a flash. After Shenmu started, he raised the kunai in his right hand and collided with the long knife. When Shenmu held a kunai in one hand and held the samurai's sword, and with his other free hand, he quickly changed his handprints. At this time, the warrior next to him also rushed up and slashed with his long sword. Shenmu raised his head at this moment. The forehead protector reflected the sun's light and dazzled the eyes of the two warriors. Fire style, great fireball technique. Chapter 37. Shenmu opened his mouth and spit out a huge fireball. Wow! The two samurai were unable to dodge and were hit head-on by the fireball, turning into 2 charred bodies. The 2 warriors were burned to death by fireballs. Inari discovered that her mother was also on the flight path of the fireball. Seeing the tragic situation of the 2 warriors turned into charcoal, Inari's eyes were about to burst. He shouted nervously, "No!" But it was discovered that the fireball suddenly extinguished at this moment. Inari, Shenmu looked at the fireball that suddenly disappeared in the sky with satisfaction. This is his new understanding of chakra these days, and the ultimate control of ninjutsu. Inari recovered from the shock and rushed forward to check on his mother's injury. Fortunately, Shenmu's fireball was extinguished in time, and the mother was not harmed in any way. Immediately afterwards, Inari turned around and fell to his knees with a plop. "Thanks," Inari said sincerely. "Without you, not only would I not be able to stop those 2 warriors, I might not even be able to save my own life." "Yes." Shenmu nodded. Inari was telling the truth. Inari, Shenmu, you can't just act with passion. Sometimes you have to use your brain to achieve your goals. You should go back quickly. The Kato warriors want to take you away as hostages. Something must have happened on the other side of the bridge. I want to go and see. After saying that, Shenmu's body disappeared on the spot. On the bridge, Kakashi and Naruto Sasuke had just escorted Uncle Tatsuna onto the bridge. Looking up, he found that the workers who were supposed to be waiting for them were all lying on the ground. The tools of the workers building the bridge were scattered all over the place and fell to the ground, not knowing whether they were alive or dead. Kakashi immediately became aware of an enemy attack. He told Sasuke and Naruto to protect Tazuna in the middle and guard the surroundings. When several people were nervous, heavy fog suddenly rose on the bridge. The fog enveloped everyone, blocking their sight. Is it the Mist Shinobi technique? The Mist Shinobi ninja responsible for the assassination? Kakashi's voice was serious, holding a kunai in his right hand, reminding Naruto and Sasuke to be careful. But at this moment, Uncle Dasna said, "It's my fault. I caused the workers to suffer." "Uncle, now is not the time to be discouraged. You just want to help this island." Naruto comforted. "Yes, if the bridge is not built, in the foreseeable future, the entire kingdom of waves will live under the shadow of Cardo, and more people will be displaced, starved to death on the streets." Sasuke, who has always been aloof, also offered words of comfort. Sudden, a ghost-like figure appeared behind everyone. On his back was a large knife more than 2 meters long. "Hey, are you looking down on me by chatting in front of me?" Zabuza's voice was dark. After saying that, he waved the machete in his hand again. Wow. Facing the big sword, Kakashi stood up and raised his hand to block it. When a dull crash sounded, and Kakashi was shocked to take half a step back, his pupils trembling. "Zabuza? Haven't you been taken back by Kirikage's pursuing ninjas?" After saying that, Kakashi thought of the young-looking, masked pursuing ninja. Oh, it seems he was deceived. Konoha's clone ninjas are nothing more than this, you know, Zabuza said proudly. Then, he formed a seal with his hands. Wow. 7 or 8 water avatars appeared in succession, surrounding everyone. Zabuza counted the number of people and found that Shenmu was not there. So he said, "Where's that red-haired brat?" "He's lucky that he's not here. Otherwise, I would have to pierce his heart with my own hands. As for you, enjoy your death. This time, I will never let you run away again." Zabuza continued. "Naruto, but the one who escaped last time was clearly you, okay? And he also used that kind of conspiracy to deceive people." Epsilon. Zabuza. That was a tactic. Zabuza blushed and began to argue. Is the uncle with no eyebrows using the turtle tactic that only knows how to fake death? Naruto continued to complain sharply. Zabuza. DRAN hashtag, talkative brat. He couldn't bear it anymore, and several water avatars rushed towards Naruto. Kakashi looked at Sasuke next to him. Swish. The two of them turned sideways at the same time. The black kunai in their hands glowed with metallic luster, and they fought with several water clones. 2 seconds later, after a set of smooth movements by Kakashi and Sasuke, all of Zabuza's water clones were eliminated. Zabuza's voice hidden in the fog became interested. Oh? The boy seems to have made some progress, and he is actually able to confront my water clone head-on. I won't make the same mistake twice. This time, I will send you to hell with my own hands and watch you die. Sasuke held the kunai backwards, his face stern. Well said, but you are not worthy of being my opponent. Zabuza sneered. After his voice fell, in front of the fog-shrouded bridge, a figure that didn't look very tall appeared. When the figure approached, everyone in Class 7 could clearly see his attire. That outfit, and the mask that symbolizes Mist Shinobi Umbu. This person is the Mist Shinobi pursuing ninja who took Zabuza away from Team 7 a few days ago. Sure enough, he and Uncle Wu Mei are in the same group. Baga! Naruto yelled angrily. The last time he saw this man take Zabuza away, he was very angry. Now that I found out I was cheated, I am even more angry. The ninja seemed to be very polite and said, "I'm very sorry. I also have something I want to protect." Don't talk nonsense to them. Zabuza ordered. "I am responsible for holding back Kakashi, and you get rid of those 2 brats." After a pause, Zabuza continued. "Especially that little yellow-haired dwarf. I'll tear his mouth apart later." Draran. Naruto, the little yellow-haired dwarf, seems to be talking about himself. Naruto felt unhappy and said angrily, "Uncle Wu Mei is so arrogant. He said a few words of indifference to you, but actually asked someone to target me." Zabuza made a gesture of wiping his neck towards Haku. "Do it." After saying that, Zabuza took the lead in charging towards Kakashi with his decapitating sword. Shiro beside him took out several thin needles from his ninja tool bag and shot them at Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke both ducked sideways. The flying needles shot into the air and were all nailed to the wooden bridge. After avoiding these fatal needles, Naruto did not forget to taunt. "Even if Mr. Kakashi is delayed by that eyebrowless uncle, you are only one person, and I have sass to give you. No matter what, we have a better chance of winning." Yeah. By spoke, his voice was neutral, and it was difficult to distinguish between male and female. The next moment, he formed a seal with his hands. Magic mirror ice crystal. Hua hua hua. Several ice mirrors appeared out of thin air, forming a semicircular barrier that enveloped Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto, Sasuke. What kind of weird ninjutsu is this? Chapter 38. Wearing a mask, Shiro looked at Naruto and Sasuke, who were wrapped in his magic mirror ice crystal array, and said, "If you retreat now, I can consider letting you go. But if you insist on doing so, I don't mind becoming a ninja who kills decisively. What are you pretending to be? I will never take a step back." Naruto held a kunai in his hand and stood ready. Sasuke rarely agreed with Naruto's words. Yes, ninjas have always faced difficulties. How could they choose to back down because of these difficulties? Then, I'm sorry. As Bai's words fell, Shiro's figure appeared on the ice mirror next to Sasuke and Naruto. There are exactly the same people standing in dozens of mirrors, which makes people's scalp numb. I can't tell which one is the real thing. What kind of weird ninjutsu is this? Naruto said, tentatively throwing a shuriken at Shiro in a certain ice mirror. Ding! There was a crisp sound, and the shuriken was deflected. Kakashi saw the scene of Baisuwa performing ninjutsu from the side. His pupils dilated and he was shocked. Could this be? Before Kakashi could say the rest of his sentence, a proud Zabuza took over his words. Yes, this is the blood succession limit possessed by very few people in the ninja world. Ice release. Shiro is a ninja who I taught with all my knowledge. Not only is he super strong in physical skills and proficient in ninjutsu, but he also has a unique blood inheritance limit. In a sense, that kid is already stronger than me. Kakashi opened his mouth, and something seemed to be stuck in his throat. It seems Naruto and Sasuke are in danger. After seeing Kakashi's appearance, Zabuza's eyes became even more proud. Be afraid, Kakashi, your two disciples will never be Haku's opponents, even if that red-haired brat comes. In your stupidly peaceful environment like Konoha, you cannot cultivate truly decisive ninjas. But Bai is different. He has walked between life and death with me several times. He is a veritable ninja. Zabuza was squirting here. Not far away, Sasuke and Naruto fully realized the power of ice release. Naruto and Sasuke, trapped in the ice crystals of his magic mirror, were unable to fight back. Bai in the formation is extremely fast. The whereabouts are uncertain. Every mirror has his reflection, but every mirror is not his entity. After a while, Naruto and Sasuke were bruised all over from being tortured by Bai. Damn it, this guy's flying needles could have directly hit the vital points, but he keeps doing some painless attacks. Does he want to torture us to death? Sasuke gritted his back molars angrily. I originally thought that after completing the chakra control training, my ninjutsu level would be improved to the next level, but I didn't expect that just when I was planning to experiment, I encountered such a powerful opponent. Since it's ice, it should be meltable with fire. Sasuke decided to give it a try and called Naruto behind him. Then, he crossed his hands in a mudra. Fire style, great fireball technique. Sasuke opened his mouth and fire burst out of his mouth. A huge high-temperature fireball blasted into the surrounding ice mirrors. Wow! At the moment when the fireball and the ice mirror came into contact, a deflagration occurred. The momentum is not small, but its power is unsatisfactory. Only a few drops of water melted out. At this time, Bai mocked and said, "It's useless." This kind of powerful ninjutsu is far from the level of melting ice escape. Naruto, who was next to Sasuke, formed a seal with his hands at this moment. He wants to try to use multiple shadow clone techniques to stand out. Whoosh! In an instant, dozens of shadow clones appeared. Unfortunately, as soon as a few clones ran away, Bai, who was traveling through the mirrors, eliminated them with flying needles. Damn it! Why are you cowering in the mirror all the time? You are awesome. Come out and fight with me. Naruto yelled unhappily. Shiro was indifferent to Naruto's aggressive tactics. That's my ninjutsu. Naruto thought of his good friend at this critical moment. If Shenmu came out with him today, the situation would never be so passive. If Shenmu were here, he would definitely be able to think of a way out. That guy is probably still sleeping in the house. When he wakes up, our bodies will probably be cold. Sasuke made a rare joke. It was just that Naruto sounded a little cold. The other side. Zabuza, who was confronting Kakashi, raised his beheading sword in his hand, making a gesture of preparation for battle. Okay, let the little devils solve their own problems. Our battle should have a result, Zabuza said as he separated two water bodies. Beads of sweat broke out on Kakashi's forehead. Now Naruto and Sasuke are trapped by the boy with ice escape, and he has to protect Tazuna. It would be too difficult to fight Zabuza in this situation. It must be resolved quickly. Thinking of this, Kakashi slowly opened the forehead protector covering his left eye. After his Sharingan was completely exposed to the air, Kakashi was surprised to find that the surrounding fog seemed to become heavier. It was so heavy that visibility was reduced to zero, and I could barely see my own palms when I stretched out my hand. Under this kind of visibility, Sharingan's effectiveness is very limited. In the heavy fog, Zabuza's voice sounded. Do you think I won't learn from the last battle? Use the mist to disable your Sharingan and you'll be a fish on the chopping block. When the visibility is 0, don't you lose your sight? Kakashi complained. Don't forget, I am the Grandmaster of the silent killing technique, Kijin Zabuza. It is easiest for me to change my position by listening to the sound. Zabuza finished his words. Kakashi felt the strong wind coming from behind. Hastily, he turned around and used his kunai to resist. When kunai collided with Zabuza's decapitating sword, Kakashi, who was experienced in combat, turned to one side at the moment when the weapons collided. At the same time, the kunai in his hand stabbed Zabuza in the abdomen at a tricky angle. Wow! The next moment, the pitch-black kunai penetrated Zabuza's body. Too bad this is a water clone. Kakashi showed a helpless expression. You are really careful. The situation is obviously so favorable to you. But you still use the water body to test it, etc. After Kakashi finished speaking, his pupils shrank sharply. Zabuza's target has never been himself, but Mr. Dazuna. Only if Mr. Dazuna dies can he get the reward for the mission. Realizing something was wrong, Kakashi quickly returned to defense. At this time, a ghostly figure appeared behind Uncle Dazna. The figure raised the beheading sword in his hand and slashed hard. Tisk! Blood splattered. But the one who was injured was not Dazna. It turned out that at that critical moment, Kakashi responded in time. Use kunai to stop Zabuza's falling sword. Chapter 39. But Zabuza accumulated all his strength for a gravity slash and launched a swift attack. Kakashi hurriedly returned to defense. So, after Zabuza's blow was blocked by Kakashi, it slid down Kakashi's kunai. At last, it was cut on Kakashi's arm. This blow cut into Kakashi's flesh and blood, almost damaging his bones. Kakashi ignored the severe pain in his arm and blocked Zabuza's sword with one hand, fighting and retreating. Now he began to miss the days when Shenmu was around. If Shenmu had been here for today's battle, he would never have been in such a difficult situation. At this time, in the Magic Mirror Ice Crystal battlefield, Naruto and Sasuke were suppressed. In the battlefield between Zabuza and Kakashi, because he had to protect Tatsuna during the battle, Kakashi was restricted in every aspect, and it was extremely difficult to fight the enemy with one hand. When, after once again deflecting Zabuza's decapitating sword, Kakashi was panting. In the Magic Mirror Ice Crystal, Naruto and Sasuke, who tried to break out of the encirclement, were covered with fine needles. The two children were desperate, guessing that Bai's next blow might go straight into their brains and hearts. Shenmu, come quickly, helpless Naruto shouted. Next moment, a dark shadow appeared behind him. It is Shenmu who was teleported here using the teleportation technique. After Shenmu appeared, he shouted, "Don't worry, I'm here." This loud shout, not only did it attract Shiro's attention, but it also attracted the attention of Kakashi and Zabuza from the battlefield next door. Kakashi's eyelids drooped, and he cursed an idiot in his mind. The essence of a ninja is to deceive and should be taken unawares. If this guy comes over quietly, he might be able to successfully attack. But he was so public, for fear that others wouldn't notice. In this way, the effect of surprise attack will not be achieved. After the body appeared in the Magic Mirror Ice Crystal, Shenmu began to form seals with his hands. Fire style. The angry Kakashi shouted directly, "Idiot! Don't form seals when everyone's attention is on you." The formation of the seal requires a considerable period of pre-shaking. The time when he forms the seal is the best time for others to take advantage of him. Unfortunately, Kakashi reminded me too late. When his voice fell, Zabuza directly threw a black kunai. The kunai is extremely fast, pointing directly at Shenmu, who was in the seal at this time. Ding! Shockingly, just when the kunai was about to stab Shenmu's body, this guy disappeared on the spot. When it appears again, Shenmu came behind Zabuza. In the palm of his hand, there is a Rasengan composed of chakra turbulence. Wow! Shenmu pressed his palm, and the Rasengan composed of chakra turbulence hit Zabuza's back. Boom! This blow directly pinned Zabuza's body to the bridge. Under the heavy blow, a huge hole was made in the newly built bridge under Zabuza. "Kakashi-sensei," Shenmu shouted. Kakashi understood immediately, crossed his hands, and formed a quick seal. Water style, water prison technique. The seal was completed, and a huge water ball appeared, including Zabuza's body. After controlling Zabuza, Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. This kid Shenmu just deliberately put on the fire-style seal gesture to lower Zabuza's alertness. Then he used the Flying Thunder God spell he had put down earlier to attack instantly. It seems that the essence of ninja is to deceive. This kid Shenmu really figured it out, etc. Kakashi sensitively sensed something was wrong. What did Shenmu use to attack Zabuza just now? Sigma, degree winky face, that blue chakra ball. SK, isn't that the Rasengan developed by my own teacher? Shenmu actually learned this. It's the flying thunder god again. It's the Rasengan again. Did he accept the mantle of the fourth Hokage? Could he be the biological son of the fourth Hokage? Kakashi couldn't help but start to wonder if there were any other secrets hidden in Shenmu. Is there anything else that this kid can't do? In the water prison, when Zabuza recovered from the heavy blow, he found that he had entered the familiar water ball again. Zabuza, hard to imagine. Zabuza, the mist shinobi Kijin, actually fell into the hands of the same child twice. And he fell for the same trick twice. Flying Thunder God. It's the Flying Thunder God again. Damn it. As long as I can get out alive this time, I must kill all the people in the world who know how to Flying Thunder God. Zabuza shouted in the water prison. So what if you control me? Now you Kakashi need to maintain the water prison and cannot move. Your two useless disciples have been hit by white hits and have no power to fight back. No matter how unfavorable the situation is now, it's just a duel between the red-haired kid and Bai. And Shiro is a figure who has been killed countless times on the battlefield. He is a brat who has just graduated from the ninja school and has never even seen blood. I'm afraid he doesn't even dare to kill. Listening to what you said, it seems like the kid who uses ice escape has a better chance of winning. Kakashi responded to Zabuza's words and looked at Shenmu's back in front of him. But I don't think Shenmu will let me down. Magic mirror and ice crystals. Shenmu walked in through the gap between the mirrors. Naruto and Sasuke were anxious when they saw Shenmu coming in. What did you come in for? Once you come in, you can't get out. Shenmu did not answer their words, but raised his eyes to look at the semicircular mirror field. He has never seen this kind of technique before. He wants to learn. What's the name of this ninjutsu of yours? Shenmu asked. His tone seemed to be talking to Bai. The magic mirror ice crystal is the blood inheritance limit that I inherited. Bai answered Shenmu's question. Naruto and Sasuke next to them were stunned. The conversation between these two people. Why doesn't it smell like gunpowder? Shouldn't they fight each other when they meet? Shenmu was thoughtful, and then asked a question that surprised everyone. The blood inheritance limit. What is that? Kakashi, Sasuke, Naruto. Now you two are fighting. Do you think people have time to answer your question? Bai Huan really answered. It's a ninjutsu that only people with my bloodline can use, and no one else can. Kakashi, Sasuke, Naruto, Zabuza. It actually answered it. But now is not the time for popular science. You two are fighting now. Can you respect the battlefield? Okay. After listening to Bai's words, Shenmu sighed. A ninjutsu that can only be used by those with a specific bloodline. This is a little hard to understand. Okay, I'm ready to start fighting, Shenmu said. Bai nodded in the magic mirror ice crystal. At this point, the battle officially begins. Chapter 40. In the ice mirror, Bai's figure kept flashing. Shenmu's handprints changed rapidly. Sasuke next to him saw that Shenmu was forming the fire style seal, and immediately guessed that Shenmu wanted to use fire style to melt the ice. It's useless. These ices can't be melted by ordinary fire style, Sasuke said. I want to try. The Shenmu Madra continues. In the next moment, the Madra is completed. Fire style chakra gathered in Shenmu's throat. In the magic mirror ice crystal, Bai also completed the seal. Fire style Haolong fire technique. Secret technique. 1000 kills Shuexiang. After the water molecules in the air pass through Bai's seal, they condense into ice needles and shoot towards Shenmu. At this moment, Shenmu opened his mouth and spit out all the fire-style chakra in his throat. A giant dragon composed of blazing flames rushed forward to face the 1000-killing water soaring that Bai had just displayed. The moment the fire dragon and the ice needle collided, the high temperature instantly vaporized the ice. Then, under Shenmu's intentional control, the huge fire dragon roamed freely in the magic mirror ice crystals. Wherever he passed, the mirrors made of ice melted. Because Shenmu was very close to Sasuke and Naruto when he used ninjutsu, so they were able to see the whole picture of the fire dragon. That kind of shock cannot be expressed in words. That huge dragon, as if it had autonomous consciousness, was dancing wildly in the ice crystals. Hey, Sass, don't you also know how to use fire style? Can you use this fire style? The dull Naruto reached out and poked Sasuke, who was standing next to him, and asked irritably. Sasuke rolled his eyes back at Naruto. If he could use such a powerful fire style, would he still be trapped for so long just now? As for being so passive, as all the magic mirrors were melted, Kakashi next to him also saw the dancing fire dragon. Hiss, after Kakashi took a breath, he slowly said, B-level ninjutsu, dragon fire technique. Shenmu can actually use its power to such an extent, and he can control it freely. This is a meticulous application of chakra. It's terrifying. On the other side, in the water prison controlled by Kakashi, Zabuza also saw this scene. At this time, there was only one question in his mind. What kind of monster is that red-haired kid? Degree Delta Degree. It would be difficult for other ninjas to use any attribute ninjutsu at the age of 12. This guy is great. Not only can he use the Flying Thunder God technique at such a young age, but he can also use the Grandmaster Fire Style, Water Style, Lightning Style. And even Rasengan can be rubbed out casually. The most important thing is that this kid has a dark heart and knows tricks. You, Konoha Village, really have a terrifying character, Zabuza said with emotion. Really? Now you think Shenmu is more likely to win, right? Kakashi smiled and looked at Zabuza in the water prison. No, Shiro can never lose, because the boy you brought has not passed the test of life and death, Zabuza said firmly. Kakashi did not refute this. Although Shenmu used the fire style technique to burn 2 assassination ninjas to death on his way to the Land of Waves. But there was no fighting at all, not even the splash of blood that a fight should have. So in a sense, Shenmu has not yet grown into a true ninja. Believe it or not, even if he doesn't kill anyone, he can solve this matter beautifully, Kakashi retorted after thinking briefly. Let's wait and see. That kid is also a rare genius in physical skills. More importantly, he can mobilize the chakra in his body with one-hand seals. This kind of talent is unique, Zabuza replied. His eyes were filled with pride as he spoke. Because Shiro was a ninja he picked up from the roadside and trained with his own hands. Besides, after all the magic mirror ice crystals melted, Bai's somewhat embarrassed figure was revealed. Shenmu's eyes signaled Sasuke and Naruto behind him to step back first and let him handle this guy himself. You must be careful. His ice escape is very difficult to deal with, Sasuke warned and helped Naruto back away. At this time, Shenmu and Bai faced each other on the bridge. You are a ninja with great potential. When you grow up, you will definitely become famous in the entire ninja world, Bai Xian said with lingering fear that the giant dragon that looked like the coming of the god of fire just now was still fresh in his memory. This was the first time he had seen someone perform that level of fire-style ninjutsu. Really? Shenmu asked back. Of course, you are the best among your peers I have ever seen, Bai said honestly. So, please have a good fight with me. After saying that, Bai rushed towards Shenmu without any explanation. Shenmu also rushed forward with a kunai. The two figures collided, and the kunai in their hands kept intersecting. Kong! After a collision, the two kunai were placed together. Then, Shenmu discovered that Baibuki, the martial artist across from him, was actually forming seals. Kakashi couldn't help but remind him, Shenmu, run quickly, it can form seals with one hand and release ninjutsu. Shenmu had a strange expression on his face. Isn't this normal operation? Why is the teacher so shocked? After thinking about it, Shenmu decided to attribute the reason why teacher Kakashi was shocked to the fact that he was too worried about himself. So in order to reassure teacher Kakashi, Shenmu turned around and gave Kakashi a thumbs up. Kakashi. Sigma, degree. Is this kid out of his mind? I asked you to be careful. Why are you giving me likes? Run quickly. His seal is about to be formed. Kakashi's voice was anxious. He didn't know which string was wrong with Shenmu today. The other side. Shenmu was delayed for almost half a second after giving Kakashi a like. The seal on the opposite side is already halfway completed. If Duanbai's ninjutsu is completed, Shenmu, who is so close, will have no ability to resist. After a delay of nearly a second, Shenmu changed the madra with his right hand. Kakashi, who was watching the battle, was stunned. Shenmu can actually form seals with one hand? How did this kid do it? And why does this kid's handprint look so familiar? Chomaosha. The Shenmu seal is completed, and the lightning-style chakra is gathered in the palm to form a high-intensity electric current. The electric current wrapped around Shenmu's palm, dancing wildly in his palm, making a chirping sound, as loud as 1,000 birds chirping at the same time. After Shenmu used a lightning-style clone to paralyze Zabuza that day, he discovered that the paralysis and conductive piercing properties of the thunder attribute chakra were very useful. So when I was repairing the bridge a few days ago, I briefly studied it and figured out hundreds of ninjutsu. And what he used today was exactly one of the ninjutsu he had learned a few days ago. You can use simple mudra gestures to mobilize the lightning-style chakra in your body, including your fingers, and your palms will be wrapped in high-intensity current, which will have extremely strong penetrating power. Shenmu named it Impaler. Well, Shenmu admits that he is a bad namer. In short, this ninjutsu is very easy to use and that's it. Kakashi stood stunned on the spot after seeing the Shenmu ninjutsu completed. Good guy. Isn't this my own Raikiri? When did this guy Shenmu learn this? Superscript 3. Chapter 41. Island. Inari, who was saved by Shenmu, knocked on the door of every household. He learned from Shenmu that something might have happened to the bridge being built. Therefore, he wanted to call on the islanders to come together and help. However, after Inari knocked on the doors of the islanders, before he could finish describing what happened, he saw the villagers locking their doors one after another. Their voices came from behind the door. Inari, we can't change anything. Faced with such an answer, Inari gritted his teeth. Now others are fighting for the Kingdom of Waves. If even we, the people of the Kingdom of Waves, are not willing to step forward, then there is really no hope, Inari said disappointedly. It was the first time he experienced such a profound sense of powerlessness. I must have been a person like them before. Give up, Inari. After your father's death, the country of waves no longer has the courage to exist. The mother hugged the sad Inari and said softly, No, never give up. This is what Brother Shenmu taught me, courage and hope. After saying that, Inari ran away again and knocked on the next resident's door. On the bridge, the battle between Shenmu and Bai continued. After the seal was used to perform the piercing hand, thunder and lightning wrapped Shenmu's palm and pierced Bai's right shoulder with unparalleled momentum. Shenmu didn't want to kill anyone, so his move was aimed at incapacitating Bai. The effect is obvious. Shenmu directly penetrated Bai's right shoulder with his palm, blood gurgling out. After being seriously injured, Bai vomited a mouthful of blood in pain. What's shocking is that even though he was seriously injured by Shenmu, even if he vomited blood, Bai still didn't give up his seal technique. I am Mr. Zabuza's tool. If it doesn't work, it will be a real failure. As the white seal was completed, countless ice needles rose from the ground and stabbed in the direction of Shenmu. The distance is so close, there is no way Shenmu can avoid it. Why bother? Shenmu felt sorry for Bai. He couldn't figure out what was so good about Zabuza that could make this boy do this for him. The next moment, Shenmu used the body flicker technique he had placed on Naruto earlier to teleport instantly. All the ice needles were shot empty. Bai, who was seriously injured, covered his wound, and blood fell drop by drop on the bridge. With firm eyes, Bai walked towards Shenmu with unsteady steps. He took out a kunai from his ninja bag and threw it in the direction of Shenmu. Immediately afterwards, his speed suddenly increased, and his body followed kunai and rushed towards the location of Shenmu. Ding! Shenmu raised his hand to block Shiro's kunai, formed seals with his hands, and wanted to use lightning style to fight. Also at this time, Naruto and Sasuke, who were watching, noticed Shiro rushing towards Shenmu and twisted around violently. Shiro's target this time is Mr. Kakashi. So, Sasuke panicked and warned, Kakashi-sensei, be careful, the other side. After turning around, Shiro ignored the horrific wound on his right chest, held the kunai in his left hand, and rushed towards Kakashi. In desperation, Kakashi withdrew his hand and stepped back. Crash! And after Kakashi retired, the water prison he had maintained was dispersed. Zabuza, who was trapped in the water prison technique, finally escaped. After regaining his ability to move again, Zabuza's eyes showed a fierce light. Bai, you did a good job. Zabuza patted Shiro's shoulder with satisfaction. When looking at the wound on Shiro's chest, Zabuza's eyes flickered, and finally showed a nonchalant look. As expected of the ninja tool I trained, can you still fight? Shiro nodded and said, Of course, Mr. Zabuza. Now the bridge is on the battlefield. Kakashi's arm was injured, and Sasuke and Naruto were stabbed with needles all over their bodies. They were seriously injured and had little fighting ability left. Zabuza was hit hard on the back by Shenmu's Rasengan, and a few ribs were probably broken, but judging from the arrogance of this guy, it was obvious that he was not affected at all. Bai was the most seriously injured. His right chest was pierced by Shenmu's stabbing hand, and blood was still oozing out. Although this guy's face is covered by a mask, you don't need to think about it to know that he must be very pale now. At present, Shenmu's side has the advantage. Give up, Zabuza, there is no need to lose your life because of an assassination mission. Kakashi gave good advice. Zabuza said stubbornly, but in order to realize my lofty ideals, I really need this money. Zabuza once assassinated the fourth Mizukage because he was dissatisfied with the tyranny of the village. After the assassination attempt failed, he fled the village and became a rebel ninja. And his lofty ideal is to establish his own country. For this, he needs a lot of money. In order to realize your ideal, you have harmed too many innocent people, and you actually helped the kind of evildoers like Cardo. Kakashi scolded. In response, Zabuza showed an indifferent expression. I don't care about the life and death of civilians. Okay, Kakashi, and that brat, let me show you what a truly terrifying killing technique is. After Zabuza finished speaking, he formed a seal with his hands. Once again, I used the signature mist shinobi technique to make the already thin mist thick again. Then, Zabuza concentrated chakra throughout his body. Wow! Zabuza slashed his entire body, bursting out with red chakra airflow. The blood-red chakra made Zabuza look like Shura walking out of hell. In the white mist, blood-red figures flashed continuously. In fact, I have already said that the same ninjutsu will not work on me a second time. Same goes for your mist shinobi technique. Kakashi took out a ninjutsu scroll slowly. After receiving a wink from Shenmu, Kakashi formed a seal with his hands. Earth-style, chasing teeth technique. With a loud shout, Kakashi quickly slapped the battle in his hand to the ground. Next moment, crash! Zabuza was under his feet, and a crack created by Earth-style appeared. Next, several ninja dogs rushed out, biting his limbs and taking control of his body. Earth-style, chasing Fang technique is a combination technique created by Kakashi by combining Earth-style with summoning technique. Kakashi's summoning beast can move to the enemy's feet through Earth-style, and then rush out instantly to control it. In heavy fog, the line of sight is blocked, but the nose is not. Ninja dogs have a stronger sense of smell than ordinary dogs, so this move is perfect for beating Zabuza. After Zabuza's body was controlled, Kakashi winked at Shenmu beside him, signaling Shenmu to take action. Although he can quickly approach Zabuza with his lightning style, it is much slower compared to Shenmu's flying thunder god technique. On the other side, Shenmu started forming seals as early as Kakashi took out the ninjutsu scroll. After receiving the signal from Mr. Kakashi that he can take action, Shenmu used the teleportation technique to appear behind Zabuza. Zabuza is a troublesome person alive, so Shenmu plans to finish him off at once. His hands wrapped in thunder and lightning thrust out at the same time. Chapter 42. Just after Shenmu's hands passed through Zabuza's body, the expression on his face suddenly froze, because Zabuza, who was supposed to be killed by him, was actually replaced by Haku. Seconds ago, after such a long battle with Shenmu, Shiro knew that Shenmu placed a flying thunder god mark on Zabuza's back. So after seeing Zabuza being controlled by Kakashi's ninja dog, he guessed that Shenmu would definitely use flying thunder god to take the next attack. Therefore, he resolutely stood behind Zabuza. The truth was exactly as he expected. Shenmu arrived as expected, and she used double piercing hands. The two arms instantly penetrated Bai's left and right chests. Before dying, Bai used his last strength to hold Shenmu. This was the last thing he could do for Mr. Zabuza. The bloodline boundary is an existence worthy of attention in any country, and its role in war is particularly obvious. But Bai, who inherited Ice Escape, had a miserable childhood. Shiro was born in a small village in the land of water where it always snowed. Due to the war, the people in the village were afraid of and hated the bloody border. Therefore, after Bai's father learned that his wife and daughter had the blood inheritance limit of Ice Escape, he led a team to kill Bai's mother. Just when the villagers were about to attack Bai used the ice needle to kill Bai. Everyone present. Overnight, Bai became an orphan. Later, Haku, who was living on the streets, met Zabuza, who had defected from Kirigakure. Zabuza took a fancy to Shiro's blood successor and took him in to teach him ninjutsu. Haku always knew that Zabuza was using him, but he was willing to fight for Zabuza. After being taken in by Zabuza, he lived his whole life only for Zabuza. Even if he dies, he must create the greatest benefit for Zabuza. Shenmu was hugged by the dead Bai. At this time, the tips of his and Bai's noses were almost touching. He could see Bai's dilated pupils and feel Bai's body temperature dropping. This man was obviously dead, but he still wanted to help Zabuza one last time. In front of Shenmu, Zabuza turned around. After discovering that Bai's body had been penetrated by Shenmu, His pupils dilated and his emotions fluctuated for a moment. Then, he calmed down, smiled cruelly, and said in a hoarse and trembling voice, "Bye, you actually helped me control the red-haired kid who used Flying Thunder God before he died. You did a good job." After saying that, Zabuza waved his sword. "In that case, kid, I'll send you on your way to accompany by." The giant sword falls. It was chopped on a piece of wood on the ground. The sharp blade directly split the wood into two, and there was still room for a slash. Zabuza saw that if the sword continued to fall, it would hit Shiro's body, so in desperation, he jerked his wrist to stop the momentum of the sword. On the other side, Shenmu used the body replacement technique to come dozens of meters away and wiped the cold sweat on his forehead with lingering fear. Now that Shenmu has escaped and died in vain, Zabuza has no chance of winning. At this moment, a group of people appeared at the bridge. The person coming is Kato. What he thought was simple: Zabuza fought the ninja who protected Tazuna. After both teams suffered losses, he reappeared and reaped the benefits. Not only can it save the commission for hiring Zabuza, but it can also prevent the Land of Waves from building a bridge. Kato looked at the embarrassed Zabuza at this time and taunted, "How pitiful, Zabuza! You are really a waste." In fact, Zabuza guessed Kato's intentions when he saw him appear, but he still asked, "Why do you appear here? What are you going to do?" Kato looked at Zabuza jokingly, his eyes shining under his sunglasses. "What am I here to do? Of course I'm here to kill you. You don't really think I will pay you that high commission, do you? Now I will kill you both because we are both in harm's way." "Understood." A cold glint flashed in Zabuza's eyes. He almost lost his life for this mission, and even lost by the only one who cared about him. But now Kato actually stood up and said that he didn't want to pay. He wanted to kill people and silence them. Zabuza spoke with a cold voice. "Kakashi, it seems we are going to have a truce. If there is no mission, I have no reason to continue fighting with you." "Yes." Kakashi nodded, holding the kunai with one hand behind his back, protecting Tazuna and Naruto Sasuke behind him. "Ninjas can't hurt civilians casually. I'll handle it." After Zabuza finished speaking, his figure turned into a phantom. He held the beheading sword and rushed towards the group of warriors brought by Cardo. During the sprint, Zabuza's body surface was once again covered in red chakra. Cardo's eyes were frightened, and he panicked and called the warrior to protect him, because Zabuza's cold and cruel expression made him feel like he was facing an evil spirit. The samurai beside Kato were also frightened by Zabuza's forward momentum. "Protect me! Protect me!" The horrified Kato ordered. "Zabuza is seriously injured now. There are so many of you. What are you afraid of what he will do?" "He came," a certain ninja shouted in panic. The next second, Zabuza held the beheading sword and plunged into the crowd, like a tiger entering a flock of sheep. "Wow!" He waved the decapitating sword in his hand, showing his power. In less than half a minute, Zabuza eliminated several samurai who were protecting Cardo. Then, Zabuza slashed with his long sword. The 2-meter-long decapitating sword directly split Cardo's body in half. The remaining warriors were frightened and fled in all directions. On the bridge, Zabuza was the only one left in an instant. At this time, Shenmu, who had just used the body replacement technique to teleport, was closest to the dangerous Zabuza. Therefore, Shenmu has been carefully prepared for this guy's sudden attack. At this moment, Shenmu noticed a slight vibration on the ground. Looking back, I saw a huge group of people heading towards the bridge. When the group of people approached, Shenmu found that the leader was actually the short Inari. "Brother Shenmu, I brought all the islanders on the island. We are here to support you," Inari shouted excitedly after seeing Shenmu. Now, hundreds of people blocked Zabuza. Everyone looked nervous and didn't dare to breathe around Zabuza. "Zabuza!" Kakashi shouted. He was afraid that Zabuza would take action against Shenmu if he lost his mind. Unexpectedly, Zabuza turned around and walked to Haku's body on the ground. He said in a hoarse voice, "I want to bury Bai. You'd better not stop me." After saying that, he picked up Bai's body on the ground. Before leaving, Zabuza turned to look at Shenmu. "Hey, red-haired kid. You are really surprising. But don't think that's the end of it. We will meet again in the future." After saying that, Zabuza walked away. At this moment, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Kakashi, Naruto, and Sasuke were brought back to the island for treatment. Kato is dead and no one will stop the bridge from being built. Chapter 43. Half a month later, the bridge in the Land of Waves was completed. Class 7 is going back to the village to hand in the mission. Looking at the figures of Class 7 on the bridge, Dasna turned to look at the people on the island. The bridge is finished, and we haven't given him a name yet, Inari said. Why don't we call it Shenmu Bridge? On the top of a mountain not far away, there is a newly built small grave here, with a mask and a wreath placed on the grave. Zabuza stood here holding the beheading sword, watching the members of Team 7 who were drifting away. After successfully completing the mission of the Country of Waves, Class 7 returns to Konoha Village. Little Sakura, who has always had a crush on Sasuke, waited for them on the way into the village after learning that Class 7 was back. She wants to ask Sasuke to have dinner with her. At this time, little Sakura, who was waiting on the road, saw a familiar figure. Ino, why are you here? There was confusion on little Sakura's face. Then, little Sakura with a wide forehead reacted. Doesn't Ino also like Sasuke and want to go on a date with Sasuke? Just give up. Sasuke only likes me. Little Sakura faced Ino like a dog guarding its food, grinning. In this regard, Ino crossed her hands dismissively. You think too much. Do you think everyone is the same as you? It's Shenmu I'm waiting for. Little Sakura was very unhappy with Ino's expression, so she deliberately taunted her. Although Shenmu is lucky to be in the same class as Sasuke, it doesn't mean that their abilities are at the same level. Sasuke is not only handsome. One advantage, and more importantly, he is a ninjutsu genius. I should say this. Ino folded her hands and said nonchalantly. Although Shenmu has not shown powerful ninjutsu in front of others, Ino blindly believes that Shenmu's talent will not be lower than anyone else. How could a person who can use almost all attributes of clone technique be so bad? Here, the two were arguing, and everyone in Class 7 finally came back. Little Sakura acted like a chameleon after seeing Sasuke appear. The expression on her face changed from the displeasure she felt when arguing with Ino to excitement and joy. Sasuke-kun, you are finally back. You must be exhausted from performing a sea-level mission. Do you want to have a meal with me? Little Sakura said enthusiastically. In response, Sasuke, who was confused about the style, shook his head and refused. I'm sorry, I don't have time. Sasuke really didn't have time. After this mission, he deeply realized the gap between himself and Shenmu. At the same time, he felt ashamed that he had not played any role in the final battle on the bridge. Therefore, after he comes back, he plans to practice in seclusion and strive to improve his ninjutsu to a higher level. After being rejected, little Sakura left with a disappointed face. Ah, okay then. With a wide forehead, I must have been rejected again. Ha. Seeing little Sakura's appearance, Yamanaka Ino next to her laughed mercilessly. Of course, little Sakura would not let others laugh at her for nothing, so she retorted. At least I dare to invite Sasuke, but you are different. You only dare to look at Shenmu from a distance, and don't even dare to come forward and speak. Ino. In fact, little Sakura was right. In fact, Ino has been paying attention to Shenmu for a long time. She had discovered it a few years earlier in the ninja school. Shenmu is not only handsome, but also very hardworking. It's just that the level of ninjutsu has never been improved. Later, Shenmu became a sensation in class, and Ino confirmed her feelings for Shenmu. However, although the two have been classmates for many years, they have never spoken. So it is very difficult for Ino to take the first step. Facing the proud little Sakura, Ino opened her mouth to retort, I. However, what she said was interrupted by Sakura's next words. If you want to refute, you might as well go up and prove it to me. Ino looked confused. Wouldn't it be too abrupt for him to rush up like this? What if Shenmu thinks he is frivolous? What if Shenmu doesn't like herself? What if Shenmu rejects herself like Sasuke rejected little Sakura? Also, what should I say to Shenmu when I go up there? Ino's mind went blank. She swallowed. To be honest, she also wanted to take the first step bravely, but the first step is often the hardest. At this moment, everyone in Class 7 passed Ino. Shenmu said hello very naturally. Classmate Ino is here too. Who are you waiting for? After hearing these words, Ino raised her head and faced Shenmu's fair face. I. Ino stuttered and couldn't say a complete sentence in the end. Shenmu thought this female classmate was a bit strange and said casually, Aren't you in the same class as Shikamaru and the others? Where are they? Ino's face turned redder. They? At this moment, not far away, Shikamaru and Choji came up and greeted Shenmu warmly. Hey, Shenmu, Naruto, Sasuke, and Mr. Kakashi, have you just returned from a mission outside? When Shenmu and Naruto were young, they were looked down upon by the village because they were two orphans. Shikamaru and Choji are the few people who don't point fingers at them and are willing to talk to them. Therefore, Shenmu is very fond of them. Before Shenmu could speak, the extroverted Naruto next to him kept talking about what he saw and heard along the way. Yes, I just came back from a mission to the Land of Waves, and you don't even know how dangerous we are this time. The most important thing is that in this mission, Shenmu can be said to be the Daihatsu Kamui. Naruto said at the end, making an introductory gesture and pointing at Shenmu. In the last battle on the bridge, if Shenmu hadn't arrived in time, Sasuke and I would have suffered. Listening to Naruto starting to talk about the Shenmu battle, Ino gradually relaxed and looked focused. She is interested in everything related to Shenmu. Shikamaru listened and nodded repeatedly. That's right, by the way. What is the teleportation technique used by Shenmu that you keep mentioning? Naruto's eyes widened in thought. I heard from Mr. Kakashi. What does that seem to be called? Flying Thunder God? Yes, it's Flying Thunder God. Shikamaru, Sakura, Ino. What? Shikamaru thought for a moment that he had heard wrong. So he asked again, are you sure? After getting Naruto's affirmative answer, his heart was in turmoil. Shikamaru has been smart since he was a child and likes to read books. So he knows the history of Konoha village and most of the ninjutsu. Among them, Flying Thunder God technique is an extremely special one. The time and space ninjutsu can travel to any place where the Flying Thunder God's mark exists. Forbidden technique developed by second Hokage, fourth Hokage became famous all over the world for this technique. This thing is the Konoha Forbidden technique recorded in the Book of Seals. How did Shenmu learn it? Chapter 44. The expressions on Sakura and Ino's faces also changed drastically when they heard Naruto say the words, Flying Thunder God. Although they were born late and have never seen the heroic appearance of the fourth Hokage back then, they have heard about the forbidden technique of Flying Thunder God. Shenmu, did you peek into the sealed book? In shock, little Sakura quickly realized something was wrong and asked. The Flying Thunder God technique is recorded in the Book of Sealings and cannot be seen by ordinary people. And since Shenmu can learn it, it means that he must have read the Book of Sealing. If this happens, Shenmu will be in trouble. Secretly learning the forbidden technique in the Book of Seals is a serious crime. Even Ino, who likes Shenmu, asked worriedly, Shenmu, you can't really? Naruto scratched his head. What Book of Seals? This is a ninjutsu developed by Shenmu himself. Naruto had seen the whole process of Shenmu developing the Flying Thunder God technique, so he answered calmly. You're kidding. Shikamaru, Ino, and Sakura said in unison. It is difficult for normal people to learn the Flying Thunder God technique, let alone to realize it on their own. Then, the three of them looked at Mr. Kakashi next to them. After seeing that teacher Kakashi did not refute, a terrible suspicion arose in everyone's mind. Could it really be that you developed it yourself? Sigma, degree. This is beyond the understanding of normal ninjas. Developing forbidden technique, this is almost catching up with the second Hokage of yesteryear. But they forgot that second Hokage, who developed various forbidden techniques, was already in his early 20s when he developed the Flying Thunder God technique. And now Shenmu is under 13 years old. Everyone gasped. Everyone is a first-year student. Why do you Shenmu have learned the super difficult S-level ninjutsu and can beat Miss Shinobi's Jonin in 2 moves? Kakashi glanced at Shenmu helplessly and took a step forward. Okay, you guys can chat first. I'm going to report the mission to Master Hokage. Hokage office. Kakashi knocked on the door and entered, and found Umbu half kneeling in Hokage's office who had just finished reporting the task. When Umbu saw Kakashi push the door open, he greeted him warmly. Kakashi-senpai. Yamato. Kakashi nodded towards the masked Umbu. Kakashi has worked among the Umbu in the Hokage for many years, and it is normal to know several Umbu. What's more, Yamato was once Kakashi's subordinate. After seeing Kakashi push the door open, the third Hokage greeted him. Kakashi is back. Come report on the mission. Then Hokage-sama, I'll leave first, Yamato said consciously. No, you can stay and listen. The third Hokage waved his hand to signal Yamato not to be so careful. In the 7th class that Kakashi is responsible for, there is your former disciple Shenmu. Yamato Sigma, degree. Of course I know Kakashi-senpai is Shenmu's teacher now, but I really don't want to know anything about Shenmu's current situation. It's so exciting. Kakashi was slightly stunned after hearing what third generation said. Yamato once taught Shenmu? Why didn't I know? A question mark popped up in Kakashi's head. There are many teachers who can teach Shenmu ninjutsu. Why does it have to be Yamato? Unless it's because there are some things that only Yamato can teach. With style. Kakashi is not calm anymore. He thought in horror. Yamato is the only ninja in Konoha who can use with style. So what Yamato teaches Shenmu is most likely with style. The third Hokage on the seat answered Kakashi's question just now. It's normal that you don't know. This matter is carried out extremely secretly. There are only two insiders in Konoha, me and Yamato, and you are the third one. After hearing third generation's description, Kakashi became a little firmer in his guess. But this thing is so outrageous and unbelievable. Kakashi wanted to ask, but decided to conduct a mission report first. Then, Kakashi gave a detailed report on everything that happened during this trip to the Land of Waves. Yamato, who was watching, wanted to leave, but third generation had already offered to persuade him to stay. So, he could only half kneel beside him, listening to Kakashi tell about the amazing actions Shenmu made along the way. However, even though Yamato had been mentally prepared for a long time, he was still shocked when he heard that Shenmu had learned the Flying Thunder God technique and various attribute escapes. Oh monster. He can actually use ordinary C-level ninjutsu to the intensity of A-level ninjutsu. What's even more outrageous is that he seemed to have figured out summoning by himself. Moreover, it was the first time for this kid to carry out such a difficult mission, and he was able to face danger without fear and fight against the former demon Zabuza and the third Hokage sitting in front. After hearing Kakashi talk about the twists and turns of the mission process. Likewise, the pupils are huge. He is a grandmaster of various escape techniques and is known as the Ninja Professor. But Shenmu's understanding of various attribute escape techniques seems to be even higher than his. Third generation asked urgently, did he really use the dragon fire technique that could destroy half a forest? And he also used fire style to burn the ice mirror of the icebreaker ninja?
Yes.
Kakashi smiled bitterly and nodded. The most unpleasant thing is that on our way back to the city, he also learned the earth style, chasing teeth technique that I showed, and it took less than 10 minutes. From the beginning to the end, I didn't give him any advice. Third Hokage degree asterisk, Yamato, star dot. Kakashi changed the subject. By the way, I've always wanted to ask, third Hokage, what did you ask Yamato to teach Shenmu? Although he already had a vague answer in his mind, there were some things that required Hokage to give a definite answer. Third generation spread its hands. What else could it be? With style. But I reminded that kid that you can't use with style unless you are in a life-threatening situation. Kakashi, Omega, although I have already guessed the answer. But when it actually comes out of the third Hokage's mouth, Kakashi was still stunned in place. With style. Gulu, Kakashi swallowed uncontrollably. So, during the mission, this guy still had something to offer. At such a critical moment, he actually had a useless with style. Be good. A super ninja who can use with style and flying thunder god, etc. Kakashi thought of something wrong again. The sea of trees that suddenly appeared in the village some time ago could be. Yamato and third Hokage nodded at the same time. Yes, it's the with style birth of the tree realm performed by that boy. Kakashi. For all, do students like this really need to be taught by themselves? With his strength, it's not a problem for one person to lead a class, right? Chapter 45. The third Hokage sensitively noticed Kakashi's petrified expression. He was afraid that Kakashi would be like Yamato and give up the job. Therefore, third generation quickly added, although that boy has a strong talent in ninjutsu, he is still an uncut jade. I have little combat experience. I have all the strength, but I don't know how to use it, and my character still needs to be tempered. Kakashi, he needs a good teacher right now. And you, who have understood the true meaning of ninja, are undoubtedly the best person to teach him. After listening to this, Kakashi felt a sense of mission. After all, what he is doing now is to train a super ninja in Konoha's future. However, he had doubts about Shenmu's shortcomings described by the third Hokage, because during this mission, Kakashi discovered Shenmu can not only use the correct ninjutsu to defeat the enemy, but also often produce unexpected effects. More importantly, this guy understood and implemented the deception of the ninja very thoroughly. As for the character of mind, although this kid was cautious, he never showed any timidity. However, it seems that he has not yet established a ninja way of his own and needs someone to guide him. After thinking about it, Kakashi decided that he would be the one to guide Shenmu. I understand, Hokage-sama. I will train Shenmu well, Kakashi promised. The third Hokage breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, then you go back first, the other side. Village entrance. Shenmu was still being stopped by several classmates who kept asking questions. Shikamaru wanted to know how Shenmu learned these ninjutsu. And little Sakura is asking who is stronger between Shenmu and Sasuke now. Ino was worried that Shenmu must have put in a lot of effort to learn such a difficult ninjutsu, so he should take a rest and take care of his body. Only Choji next to him was holding a bag of potato chips and eating non-stop. While eating, Choji casually said to Naruto and Sasuke beside him, "Shenmu is really popular. They are clearly in the same class, but the coldness of Naruto and Sasuke's side was in sharp contrast to the liveliness of Shenmu's side. No, I have to start training too. I must not let that guy Shenmu fall too far behind." Naruto waved his fist and shouted with high spirits. Sasuke didn't say a word. He just wanted to go home quickly and start practicing. After Shenmu saw Naruto and Sasuke leaving, he hurriedly slipped away on the pretext that he had something to do. Only the people behind him were left looking at his back, thoughtfully. "I knew Shenmu could do it," Ino said, sincerely happy for Shenmu. Shikamaru next to him suddenly said, "Maybe he doesn't know what you think about Shenmu yet." Ino blushed. Her little thought was exposed, and she quickly defended. "What are you thinking? Why can't I understand what you were talking about?" 3. Shikamaru raised his forehead and said, "Okay, stop pretending. Your care and love for others can only be written on your face." Underscore Ino. Shikamaru continued, "That boy is only a teenager now, and he has learned the extremely difficult S-level forbidden technique Flying Thunder God. His future is limitless, and there will only be more girls who want to be with him. You must seize the opportunity. After all, there are a lot of girls in Konoha who are better than you. Ino, can't you say a few nice words?" Drin. Shikamaru spread his hands, just telling the truth. After returning home, Naruto, who agreed to practice, fell asleep. But it's understandable, after all, he has been walking for a day. Shenmu, on the other hand, had been traveling with Flying Thunder God and didn't feel too tired, so he took over the cooking work on himself. He planned to cook braised pork tonight, but he hadn't eaten it for a long time. So, Shenmu prepared to use the Flying Thunder God technique to teleport to the vegetable market to buy vegetables. Shenmu's Flying Thunder God technique is hidden in a hidden corner of the market. And here, Konohamaru is taking his two friends to study the strange marks on the wall. "What is this thing? It seems to be a tree, but its shape is a bit strange and it looks familiar." Konohamaru lay down next to the mark on the wall and said seriously. Next to him, Udon wearing glasses said, "It looks like some kind of rune. It feels very mysterious." Minghuang, the only girl in the three-person group, said, "Why are you two so suspicious? This is obviously a child's scribblings, but it just happens to be in the shape of a tree." "No, I still feel that he has some special magic power, such as opening a certain seal, or learning powerful ninjutsu after solving the puzzle," Udon said. At this moment, Shenmu suddenly appears using the Flying Thunder God technique. As soon as she arrived here, Shenmu felt something strange in her crotch. He lowered his head and found Konohamaru lying under his crotch. "Shenmu." "Konohamaru?" Shenmu asked in confusion. "Konohamaru, what are you doing under my crotch?" "Konohamaru." It's obviously Brother Shenmu who suddenly appeared. Shenmu quickly realized that it was Konohamaru lying next to the Flying Thunder God mark he had set. That's why as soon as he teleported over, he rode on this kid's head. Next to her, the little girl Minghuang saw the sudden appearance of the handsome Shenmu, and little stars appeared in her eyes. "So handsome, Omega, Konohamaru. Is this big brother your friend?" Konohamaru got up from the ground and introduced proudly, "This is the big brother Shenmu I often mention to you. Brother Shenmu is super powerful. He taught me how to use Rasengan. He was the one who guided you to successfully practice Rasengan in one day? How amazing!" Udon sniffed and showed a longing expression. The light in Minghuang's eyes became brighter. "Handsome and powerful Brother Shenmu." Konohamaru thought of something and said excitedly, "By the way, Brother Shenmu, the Rasengan you taught me is really useful. One time I suddenly attacked my grandfather from behind and beat him to the ground." "Shenmu." "Sigma, degree. You kid is really capable of doing this. You are so filial. I wonder if third generation will be angry with me because of this." Shenmu glanced at the three children and walked to the vegetable stall on his own. "Okay, I won't tell you anymore. I'm going to buy vegetables and cook." Hokage office. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had been reviewing documents for a day, hit his waist and coughed twice. The secretary next to him quickly asked, "Hokage-sama, are you still recovering from the injury you received from Konohamaru a few days ago?" The third Hokage held his pipe in his mouth and squinted his eyes as he said, "Yeah, that kid suddenly attacked me with the Rasengan and gave me back pain for a long time. He's old and useless." Chapter 46. In a blink of an eye, Class 7 completed the mission to the Land of Waves to now. More than half a month has passed. Although everyone in Class 7 performed well in the sea-level mission of the Land of Waves. But when they were in the village, they could only take on low-level tasks such as digging sweet potatoes and taking care of children. One day, 3 people from Class 7 were waiting at the training ground for Teacher Kakashi to announce today's mission. Naruto suddenly and mysteriously approached Shenmu and asked, "Shenmu, have you noticed that there have been many strange faces in the village recently?" Shenmu nodded. In fact, Shenmu has already noticed this problem. He also discovered that those people who suddenly appeared were not businessmen, but ninjas wearing forehead protectors from various villages. At this time, they suddenly appeared in Konoha village. Are they brewing a huge conspiracy to invade the Land of Fire, destroy Konoha or something? Naruto guessed. Then, a strange expression of longing appeared on his face. At that time, I will be able to descend from the sky, turn the tide from falling, and help the building from falling, and be respected as a hero by the entire Konoha village. Third, that old man from Generation took the initiative to step down and make way for the next generation. Quack quack. What are you thinking about? You'd better pray that that kind of thing doesn't happen. In a large war, the role of a single ninja is extremely limited. Sasuke came up at this time, and after hearing Naruto's daydream, he criticized mercilessly. Unless you also have with style and are a ninja god like the first generation Hokage? With style, is it great? Naruto scratched his head. Sasuke rolled his eyes at Naruto. I told you to listen carefully in class. That is the blood inheritance limit that only one generation of Hokage has. A few people were chatting, and Kakashi, who was late, finally came. Kakashi found a very outrageous reason as always. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm late again today. I just helped an old lady cross the road. Naruto curled his lips and revealed it mercilessly. It's obviously you who got up late, teacher. You always use this kind of excuse that even a child wouldn't believe. There was no trace of embarrassment on Kakashi's face, and he said seriously, "This time there is really something important. I think you have also noticed that many strange ninjas have appeared in Konoha village recently. I noticed. They are so blatant. Even a fool can see it." Naruto said. Kakashi, don't interrupt me. Naruto. Benefit, Kakashi continued. You all know about the Chunin exam, right? It's the exam from Genin to Chunin. It's held twice a year. This time it's scheduled for July 1st, which is 1 week from now. I reported all 3 of your names. The Chunin exam is an important occasion for allies to observe their national strength. You guys must not embarrass me. Upon hearing this, Naruto had already taken himself into the identity of Chunin and jumped up excitedly. It's great. I can finally become a Chunin. Kakashi showed an unhappy expression. You kid, don't jump to conclusions. The elimination rate in the Chunin exam is extremely high. Really? Naruto asked with a confused look on his face after he calmed down. Yes, under normal circumstances, the elimination rate in the Chunin exam is about 70%. Sasuke on the side explained calmly. Sasuke is right. Kakashi nodded. Naruto scratched his head. But I see there are quite a lot of Chunin in the village. Kakashi patiently began to say. That's because the Chunin exam is held twice a year. If you fail the exam once, you can continue taking the exam. So, I don't have much hope that you can pass this time. I just want you to experience the big scene. However, this time I have defied all opinions and insisted on reporting the names of you 3 newcomers. You 3 must not let me down. After Kakashi finished speaking, his eyes fell on Shenmu. Among these 3 guys, only Shenmu is the most stable. It is no exaggeration to say that if Shenmu performs normally, he might be able to try even the more difficult Jonin exam, not to mention the Chunin exam. Kakashi-sensei, I've always had a question. When did you become a Chunin? Naruto raised his hand and asked. Kakashi looked thoughtful and then answered seriously. About 6 years old? Naruto? Shenmu? Sasuke? Are all the older generations so strong? 6 years old. This is the age when Shenmu entered the ninja school. Sure enough, the gap between me and a truly strong person is really big. Kakashi-sensei is just an ordinary one among the many Jonin in Konoha, but he has such qualifications. It seems that Konoha Shinobi is really a hidden dragon and a crouching tiger, unfathomable. Then teacher, when did you become a Jonin? Shenmu then asked. Kakashi continued to look thoughtful. 12 years old. Shenmu, Sasuke, Naruto Sigma, degree winky face. In other words, they just graduated from ninja school. At the same time, Kakashi had become a Jonin and was able to lead a small team into battle alone to kill the enemy. So scary. After noticing the shocked expressions of several young ninjas, Kakashi explained with a smile. When I became Jonin, it was during the war. It was quite special. You and I can't compare to that time. In this regard, Shenmu just thought it was teacher Kakashi who was being modest. In fact, Kakashi has other qualifications that he didn't mention. For example, after he became a Jonin and received a special Jonin gift from a certain companion, he joined Umbu. It only took 3 years to become Captain Umbu. This is a height that no one else can reach in their lifetime. Okay, I won't be taking on any missions in the village these days. You should hurry up and prepare for the Chunin exam. After Kakashi finished the notice for the Chunin exam, he disappeared again. Sasuke followed closely and walked away. He will study hard and shine in this Chunin exam. Prove your strength to everyone. On the other side, Naruto and Shenmu also started intensive preparations. At noon, Shenmu bought vegetables and cooked as usual. Just after using the Flying Thunder God technique, he met Sarutobi Kinomaru again. Shenmu found that every time he met this little guy, he was either at the vegetable market or on the way to the vegetable market. Is it possible that the vegetable market is a fixed refresh location in Kinomaru? After Kinomaru saw Shenmu, he stepped forward and hugged Shenmu's thigh, praying, "Brother Shenmu, you finally showed up. I have been waiting for you for a long time." "What's the matter?" Shenmu asked with a dark face. "I always feel like this guy is going to say something troublesome again. Teach me another ninjutsu. The one you blasted out a big crater last time. You only taught me the basics last time, and you haven't taught me the enhanced version yet," Kinomaru begged. Shenmu reacted. Kinomaru should be talking about wind-style shuriken. After this kid learned the Rasengan, he dared to greet the third Hokage. Learn the wind-style shuriken and throw it at the third Hokage, which will cause trouble. That would really kill someone. So, Shenmu found a reason and refused. "I won't teach. I will take the Chunin exam soon. Teaching you will waste time. Wait until I become a Chunin." Chapter 47. Kinomaru shook his head after hearing Shenmu's words. "I heard my grandfather say that the Chunin exam is particularly difficult and the passing rate is very low. Brother Shenmu, you are indeed very strong, but I don't know when it was when you became Chunin. It will be too late to teach you by then." Shenmu slapped Kinomaru on the head with a pop. "Van, where are you cursing me?" Kinomaru covered his head with a grieved expression. "I'm just telling the truth." Seeing that this boy was not yet enlightened, Shenmu raised his hand again. "Do not hit me." Kinomaru was so scared that he ran away. Shenmu had already placed the Flying Thunder God mark on Kinomaru. So, I just held my hands behind my back and silently watched Kinomaru run away. Anyway, no matter how far this little guy runs, he can catch up in an instant. Just when Shenmu saw that Kinomaru had run almost a distance, he planned to use the Flying Thunder God technique to catch up. But he discovered that Kinomaru, that reckless boy, actually bumped into a pedestrian. And at this time, Kinomaru's small body was still lifted up by the man. The man was dressed very strangely. He was carrying a strange object wrapped in bandages on his back. He was wearing black clothes and a hat covering his entire head. He had Sand Shinobi's forehead protector tied on his forehead. Only his face was exposed. There are some strange stripes painted on it. At this time, he was carrying Kinomaru and said fiercely, "You be asterisk 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 D. Don't you know how to read the road?" After Kinomaru looked at the strange attire of the man in front of him, he was stunned and said, "Yes, I'm sorry." The man in black wanted to find trouble and squeezed Kinomaru's hand a little harder. "Do you think an apology can solve it?" At this moment, Shenmu stepped forward and called out to the strange ninja, "I'm sorry, it was our fault just now. Can you put my brother down first?" Kinomaru was the one who hit him first, and Shenmu, who knew he was in the wrong, took the initiative to speak. The man raised his eyes, looked at Shenmu with sharp eyes, and showed a disdainful expression. "Jinin from Konoha village, he looks really bad." Behind the man in black, a yellow-haired girl carrying a huge fan on her back saw the flash of light in her eyes after seeing Shenmu appear. "This boy looks quite handsome." Then, she patted the shoulder of the man in black beside her, glanced around cautiously, and warned, "Kankuro, stop, or you will be scolded later." Kankuro ignored the words of the girl behind him and confronted Shenmu with Kinomaru in hand. At this moment, Konohamaru, who was eager to break away, started kicking with his feet. "Let me go." The man named Kankuro seemed annoyed. "I hate dwarfs the most. You are so arrogant at such a young age. I really want to kill you." After hearing the man's last words, Shenmu's pupils shrank sharply. Because judging from the expression on that person's face when he spoke, it didn't look like he was lying. Konohamaru's face turned red as he was grabbed by the collar, and he shouted in pain, "Brother Shenmu, I feel so uncomfortable. Can you?" Seeing Konohamaru's painful expression, Shenmu narrowed his eyes slightly. "If you don't let go, I won't be polite." Shenmu's eyes were cold. The other party is obviously looking for trouble, so there's no need to be polite. He slowly stabbed the kunai printed with the Flying Thunder God technique into the ground. Then, with a wow sound, Shenmu's body disappeared on the spot. Next moment, he appeared in midair, behind Konohamaru's body. Shenmu raised his hand and hit Kankuro's wrist with skillful force. Snapped. The sudden pain made Kankuro subconsciously let go of his hand. Shenmu carried Konohamaru's falling body and once again used the Flying Thunder God technique to teleport to the kunai he had put down previously. All this happened in the blink of an eye. It was so fast that neither Kankuro nor the girl behind him saw Shenmu's movements, and Konohamaru was rescued. The girl Temari's pupils dilated and she said in shock, "What kind of ninjutsu is this?" Kankuro remained stubborn, and thin chakra threads appeared on his fingertips. "No matter what ninjutsu it is, it's just a low-end ninjutsu used to escape. Don't be afraid." Then, he slowly wrapped the chakra silk thread around Shenmu's calf, wanting to use this to pull Shenmu into making a fool of himself in public. Pity. Shenmu didn't take this trick at all, and directly used his own powerful chakra to counteract it, and quickly dispersed the chakra threads entangled on the body surface. Kankuro became angry after seeing Shenmu dissolve his chakra thread so casually. He reached out and took down the bandaged object he had been carrying from behind. Kankuro is getting serious. Temari behind him covered his face after seeing this, knowing that he could not persuade Kankuro, so he could only step aside and stop interfering. At this moment, a ninja figure hanging upside down appeared on the big tree next to him. He said in a cold and hoarse tone, "Stop. Don't embarrass Sand Shinobi Village anymore." After Kankuro heard this, his movements suddenly stopped, beads of sweat appeared on his forehead, and he quickly put the things back behind his back. When Shenmu saw this scene, he was confused. Who is speaking here? Who can actually make the arrogant man in black so afraid? Driven by curiosity, Shenmu turned his head and looked at the big tree not far away. There was a ninja hanging upside down on the tree. The ninja was attached to the big tree with chakra. He had no eyebrows, a word love tattooed on his forehead, and a big gourd on his back. At this time, he was holding his hands, his eyes were cold, and he was very pretentious. Seeing the other party's strange attire, Shenmu immediately guessed the other party's identity. This big gourd, this tattoo, these disappearing eyebrows. This person must be Calabash Baby. However, all 8 gourd dolls seemed to have eyebrows. Gaara noticed that Shenmu had been looking at him strangely and did not make any response. Instead, he continued to cast his gaze on Kankuro and said in a bone-chilling voice, "What do you think we came to Konoha for? Kankuro opened his mouth, fear making his words stuttered and broken. "Listen to me, Gaara. They were the ones who found trouble first." Gaara? Shenmu felt familiar after hearing this title. He didn't know much about Hokage, but he still had some impressions of a few key figures. This Gaara seems to be quite popular among the Hokage. Of course, Shenmu doesn't know what the other party did specifically. "Shut up." After hearing Kankuro's defense, Gaara interrupted rudely, then narrowed his eyes and said, "Be careful, I'll kill you." The killing intent in these words almost condensed into substance, making Konohamaru next to Shenmu so frightened that he hid behind Shenmu and hugged Shenmu's thigh. Kankuro was so frightened that he almost knelt on the ground. After doing this, Gaara jumped down from the tree with a gourd on his back and walked away with Temari and Kankuro. After taking 2 steps, he suddenly turned around and looked at Shenmu with calm eyes. "What's your name?" Shenmu spread his hands. "Shenmu." Then, Shenmu had no intention of asking the other person's name. Gaara, who didn't wait for Shenmu to ask, could only introduce himself. "My name is Gaara, and I am very interested in you." Chapter 48. My name is Gaara, and I'm interested in you. Facing Gaara's words, Shenmu was stunned for a moment. Damn, what does it mean to be interested in me? It's wired. As a straight man, Shenmu suddenly showed a disgusted expression. "No, I don't have that hobby. Don't be interested in me. Gaara frowned, and the aura around his body suddenly became cold. Temari and Kankuro beside him were so frightened that they hurriedly took 2 steps back, their eyelids trembling wildly and their whole bodies tense. They knew that Gaara was unhappy when she showed this attitude. Are you ready to take action? Gaara wants to take action against that red-haired brat in this place. Shenmu sensitively noticed the changes in chakra around Gaara. Is this guy trying to force himself in front of everyone in broad daylight? However, Shenmu is not afraid. No matter how hard you try, you can't bend him. So, he raised his hand and slowly protected Konohamaru behind him, making a confident appearance. After all, this is Konoha's territory. Gaara looked directly at Shenmu, and he didn't see any fluctuation in Shenmu's eyes. The other person's eyes are like the gentle sun, without joy or sorrow, and extremely warm. In one word, stable. This made Gaara very surprised. Finally, Gaara greeted, "Let's go." After saying that, he turned around and left. Next to them, Temari and Kankuro hurriedly followed. Seeing the Sand Shinobi Sannin walk away, Konohamaru carefully poked his head out from behind Shenmu and asked with lingering fear, "Brother Shenmu, who are they?" Shenmu thought for a while and explained, "It should be the ninjas from the Wind Country next door. They are here to take the Chunin exam. Don't be afraid. They have already left." Konohamaru looked worried. "Brother Shenmu, they are so scary, Carrot. Since they are also here to take the ninja exam, will you encounter them during the exam, Brother Shenmu?" "It's okay if we encounter you. I've never been afraid of you, Brother Shenmu," Shenmu said with rare momentum. Facing the ninjas from the same village, he can be submissive. But facing the outside village ninja, he punched hard. "Okay, no more talking. I'm going to cook quickly." After Shenmu comforted Konohamaru softly, he was ready to go shopping for groceries. At this time, a ninja wearing a hat suddenly appeared, and in a snap, he took Konohamaru away from Shenmu, and the ninja jumped onto the roof of Konoha, walking lightly and quickly passing by. The speed is extremely fast, and he can escape far away in one go. And Shenmu looked at the back of the strange ninja who kidnapped Konohamaru. His face did not show worry, but instead showed an expression of helplessness, because he felt that the chakra on the other person was very familiar. A few minutes later, the mysterious ninja in a hat took Konohamaru to a remote forest outside the village. Konohamaru was held in his hand and kicked with all his strength. He immediately said to the fierce Konohamaru, "Hey, kid, be honest, or I will kill you directly." Konohamaru instantly became obedient and quiet, and now he could only pray that Brother Shenmu would come to save him. The next moment, Shenmu used the Flying Thunder God technique to teleport here. The ninja in the hat began to perform. "Boy, I am a spy ninja from another village. If you know who I am, please give me your Konoha village's sealed book quickly, or I will kill this little guy." As he spoke, he lifted up Konohamaru with one hand. Shenmu spread his hands. "Iruka-sensei, stop pretending." A few drops of cold sweat immediately ran down the face covered by the mask of the ninja in the hat, but he still said firmly, "Kid, what are you talking about? What Iruka? I don't know you." "Shenmu, teacher, now that you have been exposed, don't try to keep pretending. The chakra fluctuations emanating from your body are clearly that of teacher Iruka. Ninja in a hat, forgot Shenmu. This little guy is very sensitive to chakra. When using the transformation technique, I actually forgot to cover up the chakra fluctuations. Mistakes." The next second, there was a sound of wow, and a cloud of smoke burst out of the ninja in the hat, and he changed back to the appearance of Mr. Iruka. Teacher Iruka smiled awkwardly and said, "Ahahaha, you saw through it, Shenmu. It seems that I have grown a lot after going out to practice for a while." "Shenmu, teacher, you are obviously not good at pretending. Iruka, don't point out the teacher's shortcomings so ruthlessly. This makes the teacher very embarrassed." "Teacher Iruka, why did you transform and catch me? Are you playing some kind of game with Brother Shenmu?" Konohamaru asked doubtfully after being put down by Iruka. "No, it was Kakashi who rashly submitted your names to the Chunin exam. I felt uneasy, so I wanted to test it out," Iruka explained. It turns out that the current Shenmu is indeed qualified to take the Chunin exam. Pride appeared in Iruka's eyes, and he continued, "Shenmu, you are growing up so fast." "Thank you, Iruka-sensei," Shenmu said modestly. Iruka had a puzzled expression on his face and continued to ask, "But what was the ninjutsu you used to track him just now?" He suddenly appeared behind Konohamaru. Shenmu explained. It is a ninjutsu developed for traveling or moving things. Teacher Kakashi said this is called Flying Thunder God Technique. Iruka, for all, Flying Thunder God. A ninjutsu learned for traveling or carrying things? Shenmu, you didn't lie to the teacher, did you? Iruka asked cautiously. Teacher, I never lie to others. Shenmu answered seriously. Iruka, he understands very well what Flying Thunder God means. During the Third Ninja War, Iruka was probably a little younger than Shenmu now. He had personally seen the fourth Hokage perform the Flying Thunder God technique, dodging left and right among the enemy ninjas, killing the enemy unprepared. Iruka had an idea of Shenmu's terrifying understanding before, so now that he learned that Shenmu had actually realized Flying Thunder God, although he was shocked, he quickly covered it up well. Shenmu, you are doing well. You are about to take the Chunin exam. You must continue to work hard. Don't worry, teacher. I never slack off for a moment. Shenmu assured. After a few brief exchanges, Mr. Iruka said that he would invite Shenmu and Naruto to eat ramen in the evening. Shenmu nodded and agreed. Afterwards, the two parted ways, and Shenmu returned to the village to buy vegetables. After testing Shenmu, Iruka continued to experiment with other ninjas from his previous class. The Chunin exam is extremely dangerous. Many people have difficulty becoming ninjas for the rest of their lives after this exam, and some even lose their lives. Therefore, Iruka is like an old father who wants to see the growth of these children before letting them take the exam. In a blink of an eye, it was 2 days before the exam and the day to submit the exam files. The 3 members of Class 7 each took their own files and came to the front of the ninja school. Mr. Kakashi had informed in advance that the file submission would be in classroom 301 of the ninja school. But as soon as Shenmu walked into the school, he found that the chakra fluctuations around him were somewhat unusual. After several people climbed up to the 3rd floor, they found 2 fierce candidates blocking the door of classroom 301, seemingly preventing people from handing in their files. The Chunin exam is extremely dangerous. I advise you to go back quickly, otherwise you may lose your life if you are not careful during the exam. A ninja wearing a turban who was blocking the door said, and pushed away a girl who wanted to enter. The girl screamed and fell backward. Shenmu reached out his hand at the right moment and grabbed the waist of the girl who was pushed down. The girl raised her head and happened to meet Shenmu's clear eyes. Ajin fell in love with Achiang advertisement. Chapter 49. After being caught by Shenmu, the girl's cheeks turned red. He hurriedly broke away from Shenmu's arms. Yes? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. It's okay. Shenmu shook his head. At this time, Xiao Li and Niji, who came with Tian, noticed Shenmu and looked over. After seeing Shenmu, Xiao Li excitedly introduced to Niji next to him. This is the genius boy that teacher guy and I talked about. Last time we were practicing physical fitness outside the village. We met him practicing 8 inner gates. It's him? Niji asked, looking at Shenmu. The Uzumaki clan's iconic red hair, delicate appearance, and seemingly easy to get along with. It's not like he's a hidden genius. Teacher Kai said he is much better than me. I want to compete with him, Xiao Li said eagerly. Xiao Li believes that there are 2 types of geniuses. One is a gifted genius, and the other is a hardworking genius like him. But Shenmu is a 3rd kind of genius independent of these 2. He has both talent and hard work. He must fight this guy. On the other side, Sasuke activated Sharingan and saw through the illusion. He faced the 2 people in front of him who were blocking the door of classroom 301 and said, Your poor illusion skills are really not that good. Get out of the way quickly. I'm going to the 3rd floor to submit the file. Immediately afterwards, the illusion was broken, and everyone suddenly realized. The original classroom 301 became 201. It turns out that everyone has been affected by illusion since they entered the ninja school. Immediately afterwards, 3 people from Class 7 walked up to the 3rd floor and submitted their files. Niji, Tian, and Xiao Li looked at the backs of the 3 of them, thoughtfully. Tian looked at Shenmu's back and said with an intoxicated look, The 3 of them are the children brought by Kakashi. They seem to be very powerful. That red-haired boy. I hope he won't disappoint me, Niji said with white eyes. No, I must have a fight with that red-haired boy. Xiao Li looked determined. After everyone left, a magic trick was arranged, and the 2 candidates blocked in front of door 201 lifted the transformation technique and turned into 2 uniformly dressed examiners. Looking at the backs of all the candidates, the student this time seems to be a good one. That brat from the Uchiha family, that redhead is fine too. After Shenmu and the others finished submitting the files, they went downstairs to the training ground on the first floor of the ninja school. But they found that Shaoli, wearing a green tights, had been waiting here for a long time. You are finally here, Shenmu. Come and have a try with me. Shaoli stood there and hooked his hand at Shenmu, full of fighting spirit. What do you? A thick-browed mushroom head, think. Why do you suddenly have to compete? Naruto stood beside him, somewhat dissatisfied. Shaoli selectively ignored the words of the people around him and kept his eyes on Shenmu from beginning to end. Please be sure to compete with me and let me see your physical skills. Behind Shaoli, Tian showed an expectant expression. She also wanted to know what kind of power this red-haired boy had. Niji folded his hands and looked like he was watching a show. After the Chunin exam, he and this red-haired boy will most likely become rivals. There is nothing wrong with getting to know your opponent earlier. It seems I won't be able to leave today if I don't fight you. Shenmu showed a helpless expression and slowly walked onto the training ground. After carefully arranging the starting stance of physical skills, Shenmu hooked his hand at Shaoli. Come on, then I'm not welcome. Shaoli raised his eyebrows. Wow. His body instantly flew in front of Shenmu, raised his leg, and kicked Shenmu in the waist. In response, Shenmu raised his hand to resist. Snapped. Shaoli's powerful leg strength made Shenmu's palm numb. However, Shenmu still took it down steadily. What? Tian, who was watching the battle, widened his eyes. You can actually catch Shaoli's leg? And it doesn't look difficult. How old is this little brother? Why is he so powerful? Even Niji, who had always had the attitude of watching a show, couldn't help but bend forward and look seriously at the battle on the field. On the other side, Shaoli himself was stunned after Shenmu caught his kick leg. From this alone, he could tell that Shenmu's power was much higher than his own. Shaoli gritted his teeth and shouted, "Then let's see if you can block my next move." After saying that, Shaoli's waist twisted violently. Wow! Leaf Hurricane! After roaring, Shaoli rotated his body and kicked Shenmu's lower body with a quick sweeping kick. Shenmu retreated and avoided Shaoli's leg sweep. Then, with his strong eyesight, he kicked out his right foot fiercely the moment Shaoli took off. Boom! This kick hit Shaoli's butt, sending him flying more than 10 meters. After landing, Shaoli rolled on the ground holding his buttocks. Tiantian's eyes were full of excitement. This boy is not only handsome, but also so strong. Unspecified currency Omega unspecified currency, they are probably one level below us. They have practiced for 1 year less than us, but they can actually beat Shaoli. It's really amazing. Niji nodded as well. The opponent's grasp of timing and control of his own strength are both superior to Shaoli's. Shaoli did not lose unfairly this time. I won't give up easily. At this moment, Shaoli got up from the ground, white steam bursting out of his body. He still has a trump card that is useless. How could he give in defeat so easily? Shaoli, are you going to open 8 inner gates? Tian said. It's completely unnecessary. This is just a normal competition. Shouldn't the 8 inner gates cards be reserved for the competition? Facing Shaoli, who opened 8 inner gates, Shenmu was not afraid. Shaoli is not the only one who can open 8 inner gates. First door open. Second gate, open. Fifth gate, open. Shenmu opened the 8 inner gates to the 5th gate in one breath, and green steam erupted from his body, which was quite terrifying. Lee. I actually drove to the 5th gate in one go, and it looks completely effortless. From this point of view, he can still drive to the 6th gate and still have something to lose. I admit defeat, you win. Shaoli surrendered directly. Facing Shenmu, who opened the 5th gate, he had no chance of winning. Although he can also open the 5th gate, it will put a huge load on his body. Of course, we should save this kind of trump card for the Chunin exam. In contrast, Shenmu has no intention of hiding his physical skills, because apart from physical skills, he can still hide a lot. That's it. The thick eyebrows don't look that good. 3. Naruto pouted. Actually, he is much better than both of us. Sasuke looked at Naruto beside him speechlessly. I really don't know where this kid got the nerve to talk about others. When Shaoli was fighting with Shenmu just now, Sasuke kept Sharingan turned on and watched the battle from the side. Through analysis, Sasuke concluded. Although Sharingan was able to capture Shaoli's movements, his body was unable to respond in time. Therefore, if Shenmu were replaced by himself in this battle, he would have no chance of winning. There is a high probability of being suppressed and beaten by Shaoli. Chapter 50. And, did you see the calluses on his fingers? Sasuke emphasized. Calluses? Naruto was confused and looked at Rock Lee's hand. After squinting for a long time, he couldn't find the calluses. Sasuke said, "Isn't that guy's hand wrapped in a bandage?" Sasuke, look at his exposed fingers. Although they are intentionally hidden, the calluses and scars on them cannot be deceiving. So this guy has been practicing physical skills day and night, and his strength and effort are much higher than ours. Sasuke gritted his teeth and said, "To put it this way, this Chunin exam is very difficult." Naruto said, "It's the right thing to do, it's challenging." Sasuke gave a confident smile. The other side. After Lee decisively admitted defeat, another strange figure appeared on the first floor. The same mushroom head and the same green tights as Lee. "It's Might Guy." Guy pointed at Lee and shouted, "Lee, are you bullying your junior here?" When Lee turned around and found out it was Teacher Guy, he was about to burst into tears. "Teacher Guy, I didn't bully him. Also, you're right, he is much better than me." Asterisk. Guy turned his head and looked at Shenmu. He had some prosopagnosia, and it took him a long time to recognize Shenmu as the boy who used 8 inner gates that he and Xiaoli saw in the open space outside the village. "Hey boy, we meet again. It seems that we are really destined," Guy said enthusiastically and gave Shenmu a thumbs up. "You really didn't disappoint me. Now the 8 inner gates can open to the 6th gate, right?" "Lee." "What?" The red-haired boy mastered the 6th gate so quickly. Lee had no doubts about Might Guy's words and looked at Shenmu, who was not far away from him, in shock. How old is this guy? Just graduated from ninja school, right? How long has he been training? Even if I started practicing 8 inner gates from my mother's womb, I still wouldn't be able to achieve this kind of progress. Guy then turned his head and looked at Xiaoli with tears in his eyes. "Lee, your behavior of challenging others beyond your own capabilities makes the teacher very disappointed." Xiaoli quickly said, "Teacher Guy, I am willing to accept any punishment." Guy nodded. "Then run 100 laps around the ninja school playground. Let everyone witness our youth." Xiaoli stood at attention. "Okay, Teacher Guy." After saying that, Xiaoli with thick eyebrows really ran onto the playground. Might Guy followed closely behind him. Before leaving, he looked back at the Shenmu crowd. "You 3 are students in Kakashi's class, right?"
Yes.
Shenmu nodded. "Your teacher is my eternal rival. Say hello to him for me." Carrot. After Might Guy finished speaking, his body disappeared. "Naruto, what 2 weird guys?" Confused face. "Let's both go too." Niji called out to Tantan next to him and raised the corner of his mouth. "This time the Chunin exam is really getting more and more interesting." "Good." Tian nodded and looked at Shenmu reluctantly. That boy can actually make Teacher Guy show that expression, and he is stronger than Xiaoli. Who do you think is stronger, him or you? Regarding this question, Niji did not answer directly, but explained. If Xiaoli and I confront each other head-on, it will definitely not be as easy and casual as his victory. Tian. So, do you think? Niji, let's go. We graduated from ninja school a year earlier than them, so we can't be overtaken by these brats. After everyone in Might Guy's class left, Sasuke, Shenmu, and Naruto also went home and started training. Soon, the day came for the Chunin exam to begin. According to the examination process, the first thing Shenmu has to go through is the written test. In the classroom, the examiner Marino Ihiki, whose face was covered with scars, stood on the podium. His eyes were sharp, as if he wanted to see through people, which was extremely oppressive. Examiner Ibiki glanced at all the genin taking the Chunin exam and said, "This exam is very simple. There will be a total of 10 questions. Each question is worth 1 point. In addition, no low-level cheating is allowed during the exam. There are more than 10 elite Chunin in the exam room to supervise the exam. If cheating is found, 2 points will be deducted at a time. If all 10 points are deducted, you will be sent out of the exam room directly." Sensitive Shenmu quickly noticed the loopholes in the examiner's words. No low-level cheating is allowed? Does that mean cheating is allowed? But how about leaving no trace and not being discovered? However, Shenmu will not do such things as cheating. Written tests and all. It's a piece of cake. Asterisk, Examiner Marino Ihiki on the podium then announced. "One more thing, you are taking the exam in a group of 3? So, if any member of the group gets a 0 score in the written test during the exam, the results of the entire group will be invalid. Shenmu equals Sasuke. Ringen equal to A. Danger. As long as anyone has 0 points, the whole group will be eliminated. Although Naruto's ninja knowledge has been specially trained by Shenmu, there is a high probability that it will not be enough to cope with this exam. The probability of 0 points is extremely high. He must find an opportunity to help Naruto cheat. Shenmu and Sasuke wiped the cold sweat from their foreheads at the same time, and the same thought came to their minds. Naruto, who was sitting in his seat, was unaware and was still looking around at the candidates around him. At this moment, Hinata, who was sitting next to Naruto, shouted. Naruto was shocked. It's Hinata. Why are you sitting next to me? He has always had a vague impression of Hinata. When he was in ninja school, Hinata's presence in the class felt very weak. His only impression of this girl is that she dare not look directly at him and blushes when she sees him. Behind Naruto, Shenmu saw Naruto talking to Hinata and breathed a sigh of relief. He discovered when he was in ninja school that Hinata had a crush on Naruto. And this secret love is very obvious. So obvious that Hinata will blush and be at a loss when she sees Naruto. The entire class was probably aware of this, except Naruto, the idiot. When Hinata was in ninja school, her written test scores were comparable to Shenmu's. With her by Naruto's side, Shenmu felt much more at ease. On the other side, Sasuke also breathed a sigh of relief. Naruto, this boy is stupid and blessed. In the front row, Hinata blushed and answered Naruto's question. Well, the seats for the exam are randomly arranged. Oh, Naruto nodded and began to look at Hinata with a puzzled look on his face. He couldn't understand why this girl blushed when she saw him. Marino Ihiki stood on the podium and began to unpack the test papers. Okay, the exam has officially begun. This exam will last for 60 minutes. The 10th question will be issued at the 45th minute after the exam starts. Then, each examiner will distribute the test papers. Shenmu took the test paper and, like every test he had taken in the past, browsed the entire paper first.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.